Host, how
What?
can false accusations not ruin anyone's life?
So to say that a false accusation ruins like your life, it's just a gross over exaggeration of the consequences that like these allegations bring. That's really like, I'm not saying that false accusations don't happen. That's not my argument. My argument simply is that, these allegations don't ruin lives. And it's just, it's a
What?
gross overstatement.
So when the false accusation leads to imprisonment, don't you think that's ruining someone's life?
That would be a false conviction, which is ruining that person's life. I think that a false
Based
conviction
on a false
absolutely,
accusation.
again, a false conviction 100% of the time ruins someone's life. A false accusation does not.
But what leads to the false conviction is the false accusation.
So what can lead up to that? I mean, you could have a corrupt police system. You could have a corrupt judicial system where they don't like take like they're kind of leaving out certain pieces of evidence, or they're leaving out certain things. I mean, this happened with specifically like I can never say his name properly, and I feel really bad about it, but Adnan Syed, I believe is how you say it. Adnan Syed was, his conviction was overturned. He was exonerated, even though it seemed that there was evidence that he had done what he had done. Come to find out that the court case was, it was conducted in a way which made it to where I guess like the defense wasn't getting a fair trial. They didn't get like they just didn't get a fair trial. And like that wouldn't be the results of like the allegation. That would be a problem within the judicial system.
Yeah, but again, it wouldn't lead to a charge if it wasn't for that false accusation.
Right. Again, like false accusations aren't like that's not what's I guess leading
You're just wrong. The whole
I
prompt
mean,
is just
Johnny.
wrong.
charged.
I mean, Johnny Depp.
No, it's not like leading to a person being charged necessarily. It's more
It
so like
can.
the
It can
judicial
though.
system, and it's more so the judicial system and the way that like things are set up. The majority of accusations are never even presented to a prosecutor. So to say that like you don't need any sort of evidence to provide like that this was true and happened to you, it's just a lie. Maybe like 80 years ago, back when people were going around and unaliving certain people
Huh?
groups based off of the fact that they were being accused without evidence. Like maybe 80 years ago, you could make the argument that like the accusation in and of itself is the thing that's ruining the lives. But in today's world, it's not just the accusation; it's the convictions
Johnny
that are
Depp is a
ruining
good
people's
example of
lives.
somebody who got ruined.
Johnny
His
Depp's
life
life
was.
isn't ruined. Johnny Depp's
He
life is
lost
not
job.
ruined.
He lost jobs before the
Yeah, his life is
conviction
not
off of it.
ruined. He's still worth
Amber
millions
Heard,
of dollars. He is still worth millions of dollars,
but
Pink.
he wants to
He
keep
is still,
Yeah.
working.
yeah,
His
But
so
the
acting
hold
career
on.
got
His
halted
life
because of
isn't
Amber Heard.
ruined.
but
His
all the
life isn't
stress he had
ruined.
to go
He is a
through.
He was.
multi-millionaire. His life is
Mac,
not ruined. His life
you
is not
you're
ruined. His reputation was pretty much restored. He has not, like, to this day, people believe that he is relatively innocent. People believe that he was less at fault than she was. People today use him as an example of like, I guess, a false accusation ruining a life, whatever that means, even though he literally won his civil court case. And he also is seen in the eyes of everyone else as a victim of a false allegation. So like to use him as a false accusation ruins lives standpoint is just insane, because again, he won his civil case. He is owed a lot of money by Amber Heard. His reputation was restored. and he is still worth millions of dollars. You're going to tell me that a multimillionaire's life is ruined just because they didn't get to
Yeah,
work
I
on a
followed the
specific
case.
movie?
Yeah, I followed the case since the
So
beginning,
how
since
is
she
his
made the
life ruined?
accusation. So
How
I
is his
followed the
life
case since
ruined?
the beginning, since he actually did get accused way back years before, like before
Right. How
COVID.
is his life ruined?
I
Like,
just
how is
told
it
you,
ruined
he got
today?
kicked out
How
of
is it?
several movies
How
by
is it
Disney
ruined
before then.
today? How
His
is it
son was
ruined
bullied across.
today?
So his son was actually bullied when he was actually getting accused
How was his
overseas.
life
And
ruined?
so your child getting bullied isn't
How
your
was
life
his
being
life
ruined?
ruined? Can you just
No,
answer
it's
the
not.
question?
So your child doesn't mean
Can you
anything
just
to
answer
you.
the
Anybody can
question?
tell
Can
you.
you just answer the
I am
question?
answering your question. I'm
How
saying
was
his
Johnny Depp's
children were
life
being
ruined?
targeted by his
How was
wife,
his
ex-wife's
life ruined?
accusation. So, like I said, he lost jobs. He was getting
What
falsely
jobs did he
blamed in
lose?
magazines. He was getting
What
stigmatized.
jobs
Fans
did he
were calling him a
lose?
wife beater.
What jobs did he lose?
I just said he got lost jobs from Disney.
What
He got
jobs?
fired from several other movies.
What jobs?
Didn't I just say movies?
Yeah, what jobs? Which ones?
I don't know. Disney just said they didn't want to hire him
Disney never
anymore. That's
said they're
all.
not going to hire him. Disney never said that.
Also, like, he doesn't have a right to work for these companies. So, like, what's
You're
your
right. He
problem?
doesn't.
And
You're
what
right. He
and what
doesn't. But
movies?
people
What
still
hang on,
want
what
to work.
movies?
People don't want to be called a
What
woman beater. People don't
movies?
want to be
What
gossiped about in
movies?
the
You're
magazines. People
waffling
don't
on
want
and you're
those
not
things
answering direct
against them.
questions. My direct question was, what movie did he lose as a result?
I just said he lost movies. That's
So you
all.
don't know a single movie, correct? You just lied about Disney saying that they're not
No,
going to
I
work
didn't
with
lie
him.
about anything. I just said
Okay, can you
movies.
show me where
That's
Disney
all I
said they're
said.
not going to work with him again? Do you want to Google that? We'll wait.
Okay, we can Google it.
Yep. Show us where
So, like I
Disney
said, so
said, no, no, no,
Johnny's
no, no.
children were
You go
being
Google it.
bullied.
We're going to mute you. You go Google it. Once you come back and you show us a screenshot where Disney said, we will no longer work with Johnny Depp, we can continue the conversation. I just want you to source what you're saying, right? If what you're saying is true, well, that's a great fact on your behalf, right? But if it's not true, then we're wasting times. Well, why are you now mouthing off in the comments? Why don't you just mute and Google, did Disney say they're no longer going to work with Johnny Depp? Or are you going to say, okay, regardless? Because that's another way of saying you don't have a point. Y'all are acting like, you know, you can unmute yourself, right, Pink? But Pink, why don't you go Google it and prove your point? Because right now you're just waffling.
Yeah, I also just want to say that, like, again, he's not a good example of a false allegation ruining someone's life. I would say that someone with multi millions of dollars is not, like, his life is not ruined at all by any metric. His reputation has been restored. Majority of people, if you ask them, they will believe that he's innocent and that he was the victim of these allegations. So again, I don't think his life is ruined. I don't think that's a good example of someone's life being ruined.
It's a horrible example because he
So,
maintained
how
his
about Matt
friendships.
Lauer?
No, let's finish with Johnny Depp. Is there a quote? Just yes or no.
So,
Is
how
there a
about Matt
quote from
Lauer?
Disney? Are you just going to
Irregardless,
completely...
this man had to go to court to prove his innocence.
So irregardless is another way of saying you don't have the
Didn't
evidence.
actually
Is that
Johnny say
right?
that in court? I think
Pink,
he
is
actually
that
even said
correct,
that in
Pink?
court.
Wow, God forbid the judicial system work as it's intended. God forbid. Like, if you're innocent and you're going to court, you should have nothing to fucking worry about.
You're
Especially
right.
when
He shouldn't, but he
especially when
had
it
to
comes to
because
rape, especially when it comes to rape and sexual violence, because again, the majority of people who are accused and are brought to have a trial are not convicted. So, like, even if you've done it, you should feel pretty good sitting there. You should feel pretty good that your chances are
and
that you're gonna get away with what you did.
and do you know why that is?
Yeah, it's because the judicial system, for some reason, believes that, or I guess courts, I should say, believe they don't believe, like, victims whenever they're talking about sexual assault and giving their testimony, but for some reason they'll believe first person testimony when it comes to any other violent crime. It's very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, because it's about the nature of the situation. So, because of the nature of the situation, it's very delicate that they handle it like that. And most people who have been sexually assaulted actually don't relay the story until later, like when they're adults, because a lot of the sexual violence happens to them as children. And for some reason, they either self shame and shut themselves down and don't tell anybody, or they get scared into being silent. So the courts, by the time they even hear the story, they don't hear it till years later. And then the stories that do get reported, and if there are charges pressed, those people most people don't even go to court or even press charges. It's just a story that you know about them if they feel like telling you. So because that situation is so delicate and it is their word versus another person's, they have to treat it very delicately and they can't take either side. And since they can't have any evidence because of the length of time that's passed, they have to just rely on somebody's testimony. And whether or not, depending on your judge or the the jury, their words is pretty much anybody's story. It's just whoever gets believed more. And it's unfortunate, but it's like, that's the situation.
Yeah, again, first person testimony is evidence. So, like, it's not that they don't have evidence. It's that, again, when it comes to sexual violence, since this crime is specifically targeting women, and women have routinely been deemed as crazy or, liars in society, you're going to have judicial systems which favor the men, the perpetrators, the male perpetrators, and you're gonna see this played out in these court cases where women are painted as crazy lunatics who don't know what they're talking about and they wanted it or whatever, and the men are just poor innocent men who were accused by their crazy ex. Tear.
Yeah, so
sad for
so
them.
a lot of guys don't even open up about their own sexual violence. Like, guys
What
don't
does that
have
got
that
to do with
same
the prompt?
comfortability.
What does that got to do with the prompt?
Also, I'm not gonna let you act like men get sexually assaulted more. They don't. That's statistically not true.
Excuse me? So just because you're not used to hearing it, all of a sudden they don't have
Men did
stories
not
It's
now?
get
statistically
raped
not
or
true.
essayed on the same level as women. That's factually accurate. Do you have any source to
No,
say
that's not
otherwise?
factually accurate. A
So
lot
do you
of
have a
guys do
source
not
that
tell their
says
story.
otherwise, Pink?
A lot of women don't tell
I
their
have a
story
lot of
as
men
well.
that say their stories. Like, what are you talking
Pink,
about?
does
A
that
lot
mean
of
you
guys
don't
say
have a
that.
source and you're talking out your ass again? Because if we're just going
Like I
to
said,
lie and make shit up,
it's
it's going to be
men
stupid
are
debate,
not
right?
comfortable being emotionally vulnerable.
Again, do you
So
have a source that
therefore,
shows that
they're
men
not
are
about to go
essayed
to the
as much
police.
or more
Women
than women?
women also do the same thing, and we
Okay,
have
so
the
this is basically
statistics.
the women are only victim show. So
This is
you guys
basically
really
you're
don't
going to be
care.
spouting stuff
So
and
this
you're
is
not going to back it
basically
up.
we don't
This is
really
basically
care
you're
about
full
having
of
a
shit, Pink.
dialogue. We're
Pink,
just going
Pink,
to
there's no dialogue when you're mouthing off opinions without
Pink.
facts to support them.
My statistic is the National Crime Victimization Survey. So what's your statistic?
okay.
The
Her ass.
The National Crime Victimization Survey, Pink, states that women experience sexual assault at an astronomical rate compared to men. So what's your
If
source?
it's
10
astronomical,
times,
wow,
10
that's a big
times.
number.
10 times more
Wow, that's a
frequently.
big number. Wow, that's a big number.
Okay,
Yeah, a
so
factor of
Astronomical.
10 is a very big number. You're right.
an estimated amount of 91% of victims of rape and sexual assault are female, and 9% is male.
And those are
almost
reported
exactly-
cases, right?
Nope.
Yes.
No. Nope. Because the National
it's
Crime
no?
Victim. Nope. So the National Victim Survey that's sent out by the DOJ asks 200,000 people on an annual basis whether or not they've been a victim of assault. So the 9-to-1 ratio, that is both reported crimes and self-reported by individuals who are asked to report whether or not they've been essayed anonymously. The stats are
I'm always
largely
curious
the same.
I'm always curious how the DOJ always gets these reports, and yet I'm never a part of any of these surveys.
Oh,
I'm
so you're a
always
conspiracy theorist lunatic?
Right, because
No, because if you're gonna say a
Because there's-
statistic and you're
because
going to
there's-
generalize
Oh my
America,
God.
Because there's
If you're
if you're
almost
gonna generalize
400.
America,
Hey,
you're gonna have
dumbass.
to involve everyone.
Hey, dumbass. There's 400 million people in America. You're not special and you're not the center of attention of the US government. The fact that they don't send you a survey doesn't mean the surveys don't exist. That's a ridiculously stupid argument. Can you try to be a little bit rational? You've been up here mouthing off, rambling without any sources.
Can you not be disrespectful?
And when there's
no,
because you're an idiot, you don't deserve.
You don't need to call me out of mine.
Then don't be stupid. You don't deserve my respect because you've ignored sources, you've ignored requests for sources, you've rambled, and you've also tried to cast doubt on sources we've provided that you know nothing about.
Yeah,
you deserve
I told
respect.
you why these sources are doubtful. Like, what are you talking about?
Why is
these
wait, hang on.
Are doubtful.
Your reason for saying it's doubtful is because you never got one. That's your reason.
Anyway, so like I said, men don't report their cases.
Big brain here.
Men don't report their cases.
Yes,
a lot of guys are not emotionally vulnerable like that.
Men not about report at only a slighter lower rate than women. Women report approximately 33 to 35% of the time. Men report closer to 25 to 30% of the time.
Yeah, so it's a relatively close number. So to act like the margin is that much more different is not only disingenuous, but for you to sit up here and say that you know that the DOJ's National Crime Victimization Survey is bullshit when you haven't even looked into it is insane. Like, there's a problem with people like you who don't want to read into anything and they just want to doubt because it doesn't fit your narrative. Like, I'm sorry
that's exactly what you did, Pink.
I don't know why, Pink, you decided to become a pick-me. I don't know the psychology behind that.
Oh, I'm a pick-me because I'm defending men? Are you serious?
Yes.
No, because you're defending men without any sources and no information.
Hey, Irish, let me ask you a question.
Hold on. No, not yet, Appington. So, Pink, the reason that you're a pick-me is because you came up here with no evidence, no facts, no sources. You came up here wanting to paint men as the perpetual victims of sexual violence, and that's pretty problematic. I don't know why
I didn't say perpetual. I said
while also making it
men and women are equal victims.
Yeah,
no,
I don't know why
men and women are equal victims.
No, they're not.
Shut the fuck up. I don't know why you want to act like men should, are the ones experiencing this at an alarming way. That's just not true. It's disingenuous. You've come up here, you haven't given any statistics. And again, I don't know why men want to be the center of attention 24/7, but it's gotten so bad to where you guys want to, not you specifically, but like men in general, they want to hijack something that is a female-oriented issue and a woman-oriented issue, and they want to, steal the victimhood for themselves, even though they're perpetrating the crime. It's just crazy to me. I don't know. It's just crazy. I don't know. Just crazy. Can men stay in their own lane, please? And we don't need women like you defending it. You're problematic and you're harmful to the cause that we're trying to fight for.
I mean, I just think you're dumb. Your arguments have been weak and they've been not sourced. I mean, it's been embarrassing.
Okay, so a lot of these sources that you guys are pulling up, half of them aren't even real. They don't even apply all over America because all over America is different. What do you mean they're not real?
What do you mean the
They don't even
DOJs are not
apply
real?
all over America. They're
What does that
in
mean?
general. Nobody is. I've never even
They're
taken
national
any of the
surveys, you moron.
National surveys. Okay, so how can you get a survey from my mail?
So
how are they gathering this info?
How about instead of attacking our survey that you have no idea what it's about or even the statistics on it, provide me a survey larger than the National Crime Victimization Survey regarding this topic. I'll wait. You won't find it. This is the most comprehensive survey regarding this topic that you will be able to find. And there's nothing else that trumps this.
You think Pink is going to research anything?
Mark, can I say something?
Not likely.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so in sociology, there's this problem known as the replication crisis. It's basically the idea that all of these studies, very few of them can actually be replicated. And one of the biggest reasons why is because of sample sizes and sample composition. Irish presented a study that constitutes 200,000 people out of 330 million. That is an incredible.
200,000 people is a fuck ton of people. You realize? Hold on, Yappington. I just want to say, you realize
And let me
that
finish my point.
200,000 people is one of the, like, that, I would dare I say that is the largest, one of the largest federal surveys that is sent out to the American public. Dare I say that is an extreme amount of people to be surveying, and that number far surpasses the minimum requirement that is needed to draw conclusions from society.
But that's not actually true, which is exactly why the replication crisis is a thing. See, here's the problem with what you're saying. It's relative. The sample size is an incredibly tiny percentage of the population that we're attempting to describe, and that's the important part. Also, it's based on self-reported data. Are men more likely to underreport than women? Are women more likely to underreport than men? What about the composition of the sample? For example, the America is 60% non-Hispanic white, 13% black, 19% Hispanic. Hold on. Is the sample composition representation of the population? That is what's wrong with these studies. They're not actually meaningful.
I would assume
200,000 people isn't really that relevant out of 330
So then what do you want to
million.
what do you want to do? What do you want to do instead?
Sent out to the American public. Dare I say?
We have to. What I want you to do. What I want.
How else would we get these statistics? If how else would we get the underreported statistics without asking people, did you not report this crime, or were you a victim of this, and did you report it to the police, or did you not?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
if
saying.
I can just ask a question, Yappington.
These
You just came up
yeah.
here, Yappington, right? And you tried to say that there's a replicatable problem with this survey, right?
The replication crisis. No, I'm saying that the
Hang on, can I
replication
finish?
crisis. No. Don't misunderstand me.
Listen, you
You
moron.
put words in my
You
mouth. Let me
absolute
clarify.
moron. I know what the
Clarify.
replication. It's not called a replication crisis, you moron.
That's
Okay.
literally what it's called. You
No,
fucking
it's
dumb.
not. Okay, why?
Yes,
Why?
it is.
Okay, so why don't you tell me what is the sister to the replication crisis? What is the sister issue? You
I'm
dumbass.
not sure what you mean. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
because
what
you're
you
too
mean.
fucking stupid. So let me tell you, Yappington.
Sure.
What you're referring to is the reproduction and replication issue. And what that pertains to is when you're doing a survey, and I can't believe you come up here and you're mouthing off about this bullshit. I didn't even take statistics, and shut up. I didn't even take statistics, and even I know what you're talking about. What you're referring to, you idiot, is the reproduction and replication criteria that is required or usually wanted in a survey, which is able to denote reliability of the survey. And those two factors basically mean, are you able to reproduce the survey? And if you reproduce the survey, does it replicate the similar numbers? And so you come up here and you accuse the survey. Shut up. I know more about this than you do because you're an idiot. Shut up. And so when it comes to the issue of replication, you assumed there was a replication issue. And the replication issue would be if these numbers are not shown year after year after year after year with some relative consistency. But the National Crime Victimization Survey does have consistency, you ding-dong. Consistently, when it comes to men, they find a delta anywhere between 20 and 35% of men who say that they have reported, and the remainder don't report. That's the range, and that is showing that there is replication in the survey. Now, what exactly did I get wrong, Yappington?
Okay, first of all, reproduction and replication are synonyms, so I don't know what you're talking about.
They're not
Second of all,
synonyms for this issue, you moron.
Hold on. The replication crisis is not intra-study. It's not about this specific
What is the replication?
study.
What is
The
replication crisis?
The replication crisis is about studies that cannot be replicated by other people. Say you perform a study and then someone else goes and tries to re-perform that study and they don't get the same results that you get. That is what the replication crisis is. And the replication crisis is explicitly tied to samples, sample sizes, sample composition, all of these things. things. And 200,000 people out of what a population that you're attempting to describe that constitutes 330 million people is not statistically relevant. That is the
Okay.
point.
So this is why everyone needs to be very careful that when people speak confidently, it doesn't mean they're right. So first of all, this fucking moron just claimed that a sample size of 200,000 in a population of 400 million is not representative. It absolutely is.
100.
If you got shut up, moron.
30.
When it comes to any national polling that takes place, especially for example with presidential elections, have you guys ever looked at what the sample sizes are? The sample sizes are usually a couple of thousand. I don't think I've ever seen a poll for example, for presidential elections that is more than 10,000. I sure as hell, shut up, idiot. I sure as hell have never seen them at 100,000. So this moron is telling you that in order to get a representative, a statistically material sample size for the United States, 200,000 is not a large enough number. That is incorrect. And if he could show something that says otherwise, I'd love to see, but he won't because he's an idiot. Secondly, when it comes back to the reproduction versus the replicatable factors, you didn't in any way say what I said was wrong. More importantly, you again assumed that these surveys are not repeatable. Amy, do you want to come up here? Because I'm certain you're a lot more versed with these because... Amy, you come up and you tell me if I'm wrong on what it is I'm talking about. But, like, this is embarrassing, the nonsense he's saying. So if you want to come up, please do. Let me invite you if you're available. You may not be available.
The 200,000 thing in a sample size, or like in a population of 330 million, makes no sense if that is not, like, a valid
representative of 0.06% of the population. That is an incredibly tiny percent of the population that we're attempting to describe. How can that possibly be statistically relevant?
Yeah, cool. So let's go with that. So, you know the flu vaccine, something that people take and then they get boosters for every year, yeah?
Sure.
How many people are affected by the flu every flu season in the US alone? Let's just put it to that to make it easy.
I have no idea.
Okay, so the CDC puts it at 35 million every year. So roughly, since the flu vaccine was originally brought out and released to the public, it's been about 700 to 800 million, I think. I could be wrong. I think it actually might be more. How many people do you think were used in the flu trials?
I'm not sure.
It was about 1,000. So if 200,000 isn't valid enough for a study, but 1,000 were okay for a vaccine we still use today, I think it might be kind of representative of something being valid.
Okay, but how many people get, first of all, how many people get the flu vaccine every year? I'm pretty sure they can track data that way. Second of all, this is a completely different field of science. I specifically said that the replication crisis is an issue in sociology. What you're talking about is like biology and disease control and stuff like that, which is that's hard science versus soft science.
Yeah, cool. But saying a sample size isn't representative, like
It's not.
You're such an idiot. Yappington, what's a confidence level? What's a confidence level?
The degree, well, it's typically called in a study, and it tells you the statistical relevance of the sample size.
What is a confidence level?
I just told you. If you shut up, you would have heard.
What is a? Let me ask you this: what do you think is a good confidence level? What is a good confidence level?
Just make your point. Just make your
point.
point.
What is a good confidence level?
When we're referring to N, it could be anywhere between 1,000 and 3,000. That's what's typically accepted.
You're such a fucking idiot. So let me educate this moron. Confidence interval is basically anywhere from 0 to 100%. And what it's indicating is exactly what it suggests in its name. It's telling you how confident you can be in the results based upon the sample size that is being used to study.
That is N.
Shut up, moron. Shut up, moron. You just said it was 1,000 to 3,000, you fucking moron. So confidence level is basically saying that
1 to 3.
we can say with this level of certainty, shut up, moron. We could say with this level of certainty, 95% or 99% certainty, for example, that this survey has a large enough sample size that the margin of error will only be 1% in that specific case. And so when it comes to a population of about 350 million people, in order to get a confidence level of about 99%, you only need like 20,000 people. Now, I'm so sorry Yappington came up here to yap about shit he knows nothing about. Literally nothing about, using words he didn't even bother Googling. It's embarrassing. Now, Amy, who's not cosplaying someone, she's actually someone who knows about these because she does surveys like this. Amy, I might have been wrong in some stuff, but can you please educate this person?
I mean, I'm not interested in putting a ton of labor into Yappington about stats. You're right, Irish, and Yappington is making shit up out of his ass. But we calculate these things. These things aren't just our opinions. We don't just kind of go, gosh, there's 300 million. We probably need like 1 million. Like these things are statistically, easy to find out. We can use a sample size calculator. You say, I want, 99% confidence interval. I want a small margin of error, like maybe 5%. And it'll tell you what your sample size should be. And when you're doing this, you need to make sure you have a representative sample. So if I'm trying to survey the entire United States, my sample needs to be pretty big to account for all the variables of the people within the United States. But if I'm trying to generalize to a population of Irishmen on TikTok, I can have a pretty small sample. So because I'm only generalizing to a small population. Like these things are known, Yappington. You can't just say, well, it's not big enough because it was only 100,000 people. 100,000 people is absolutely representative of 300 million people. 100%, and I'm not taking an argument. I did listen to what you said, and you don't know what you're talking about.
No, you didn't, because I literally addressed sample composition. I specifically was talking about, for example, 60% of the population of America is non-Hispanic white, 13% is black, 19% is Hispanic. Is this sample constituting these sort of variables? And there's all sorts of variables to consider here. Religion,
be publishable, Yappington. No, I'm not going to hold on. I understand sample composition. It would have been controlled for. You have finished making your point because I've already estimated where you're going with it. I didn't say anything about the style.
You didn't address my issue.
Your issue was size. Your issue was size.
I literally said size and composition.
Fine, I have done half of it. You want me to keep going?
No, because 200,000 people is 0.06% of the American population. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. You're so just fucking stupid. It's embarrassing.
You're so stupid. It's embarrassing. If I can take 100,000 people, and within that 100,000, frankly, that's an enormous sample size, but let's say I take the 100,000. In there, I am bound to make sure that the people in that sample are representative of who I am generalizing to. I cannot have them all be non-Hispanic white men and then try to generalize to anybody else. I can generalize only to non-Hispanic white men from that sample. So when you are collecting 100,000 people, you look at your sample and you say, is it representative or not? You are honor bound. You won't get published if you don't do that. For fuck's sake.
Did I literally not say this when I said sample size and sample composition?
Nobody disagreed with you. You're asking a question.
Oh my God.
I know what you're saying.
Yappington.
No,
I know what you're saying. Shut up already. I know what you're saying.
Yappington, you're trying to deflect by focusing on composition only, and you're ignoring the sample size argument you made. You said based upon the size of the population in America, that 200,000 is not enough. I want to be super clear. Anyone can Google this right now, but like just Google for a sample size estimator. I would guess without even having to look that when it comes to the size of America, in order to get a 99.9% confidence level, a 99.9%, I guarantee you don't even need 100,000 people. Never mind 200,000 people.
No, not at all. You don't need anything like that. I can do it in under 20,000 people if I want 99% confidence and a 1% margin of error. I can do it at like 20,000 people.
Y'all not understanding what I'm saying.
As long as it's representative. Yappington, we both agree that it has to be representative. after that,
No, you're
size
not
is already
understanding. You're not
determined.
understand. You
Of
won't
course
even
I
let me finish
understand.
my
I teach
argument. That's why
statistics.
you.
Fuck's
That's why
sake.
you not understanding what
Oh,
I'm
for
trying to
fuck's
say.
sake. I
I'm
teach
saying, okay,
statistics,
okay.
Yappington.
Let me say my damn
Oh,
point.
Go ahead, Yappington.
Okay,
we've heard
Educate the
your
in
point
person.
already. We heard
Yappington,
it.
educate the
so
person who
when
teaches
so
statistics, please.
in a study when you're trying to
Yeah, tell me
determine
about
the
studies.
relevance of the sample size, you use n. I am suggesting
No.
that n is not actually a comprehensive measure of the relevance of a sample size. I am saying that it doesn't actually account for both size and composition of a sample relative to the population you're attempting to describe. There's no fucking way that 200,000 people out of 330 million is statistically relevant when it constitutes 0.06% of the
Yes,
population,
it is.
Yes, it is.
and none of you
Yes, it is.
Yes,
I can
none of
counter you
you
by
have
saying yes,
hang
it
on.
is. I can
none
counter
of
you
you
100% with yes, it
none
is.
of you have
Hang on, because this is
shown me
hang on. This is so annoying.
You're
how
not
this
complaining
study.
about the
Yappington.
representation. You're complaining about the number. We can already show you the number. The number
Yeah.
works.
I am
Now,
I literally said sample size and
Yappington.
sample composition.
and we covered
How
half of it.
many times do I have to say this?
Yappington.
I'm
My
talking
question
about
for
covered it.
both.
you.
I covered half of it.
Yappington, my
Oh
question
my
for
god.
you is, what do you think N means, you fucking
Yeah,
moron?
make him define N. That is hilarious.
What do you think N means, you fucking moron?
God
N is an
damn.
attempt to describe the
No.
statistical relevance.
Okay,
No.
Amy, can I guess?
Yes, please do.
Isn't big N the largest possible size of the population and small n is your sample size, or am I wrong?
Oh, Irish.
Oh, I'm wrong. My bad.
No,
All right,
no,
what
no,
is
no.
it?
You're good. You're good. And N doesn't have anything to do with the quality. It is a numerical figure. It's not.
a
It doesn't
population
tell you
number,
about
right?
the. Yeah, it's population and sample number. Yeah, yeah.
Yappington, I didn't even come up here to talk
Yeah.
about this nonsense.
It just means it's the number. You know, it depends on big or small, capital
You're
or
so
not capital.
stupid, Yappington. This is embarrassing. Why don't you?
It's the name. It's the sample size.
what-
My sample size is N equals 200,000.
Exactly.
That's it. It's not the
Yep.
quality of the sample. Fuck me.
Yappington, why don't you
N would
Google
not
this
be
right now?
200,000.
Yappington, right now, I want you
Yes.
to Google it. Right now, find a sample size calculator, or just Google what does N mean. Realize you're a fucking moron. Come back here and
Irish, you're
either
just
show
still
that
mad.
we're wrong, or apologize for wasting all of our time for being so stupid.
Apologize for wasting my time. I
None
have
of
10
you-
years
none of you-
on you on this.
None of you have justified how a sample of 200,000 is representative of a
It's
population of
20
not
times larger.
the
330
number.
million.
It's the composition, Yappington. It's not the
Right,
number.
and none of
It's
you
the composition.
have justified the composition
How
of the
does-
We
study
how does
didn't
that
the
I
get
DO
there
brought up.
yet.
How
We
does
didn't
the
get there yet.
DOJ? How
I've
does the
literally brought
DOJ?
up composition like 10.
Yeah, Yappington. What's the
No, you didn't.
composition of
Ignoring
the
it.
survey? What's the
No, you didn't.
composition of the survey, Yappington?
Yeah. Yeah.
You said
Tell
it's
me the
wrong, right?
demographics
I
in your
don't know.
sample.
I haven't looked at the study. That's why I'm asking
So
you.
why are you criticizing it?
I'm
You
asking you,
criticized
what
it.
is the
You aren't
fucking
asking.
composition? What
You
is the
aren't
composition?
asking. You said
Okay, I'm
200,000
asking now.
isn't
What is the
enough.
composition? What is the composition?
I will tell you when we settle sample size.
Oh my fucking god. Both are relevant here.
Of
We
course
can't
they are. Of course
extricate
they
one
are.
from the
Of
other.
course they are.
So
Of course
answer
they
me,
are.
what is
But
the
one is already
composition? We've
settled.
already addressed the 200,000. I don't
No,
believe
we
this
did
is
not.
represent.
Not
Oh
unless
my
you
god.
concede. Not unless you concede.
I'm not concede what?
Concede that that's plenty big enough to represent an entire country.
No, because in order for it to
Okay,
be
what
big
source
enough,
have you
it has to be relevant to
What
the
source do you
population.
have?
Yeah,
The
but just
composition
assume
has to
that
be
the composition
the
is
composition
relevant.
has to
Yappington.
be relevant. So tell me, what is the composition of the study
Wait,
Irish
now,
brought up?
hang on. You just said 200,000 is not enough. What I asked you was, what is the number, and how did you calculate it?
What do you mean?
In order to get a statistically significant sample size for the American population, how many people need to be surveyed?
I think that this number would be incredibly arbitrary, but
Oh
if
my
you
God.
were to, oh
You
my
can't
God,
publish
they're
an
not listening.
arbitrary
No,
number.
you
No.
can, because what 200,000 is an arbitrary number
What is
of
the
a
number?
It's
I
population
not
of
asked you.
330
I
million.
asked you, what is the number?
It is.
Hey, you fucking moron! What is the number? If it's not 200,000, and by the way, it's a 250,000. It's 250, I think nowadays. What is the
That's
number,
an enormous.
Yappington?
That is absolutely generalizable. It's so big. You can do it in
Yappington, what is it?
20,000. You can do
Yeah,
it in
Yappington,
20,000.
what is
Why
it?
are y'all avoiding? Why are y'all
Why can't
avoiding
you
the
answer the
question
question?
about
What is the
composition?
number?
No, I
What is
asked
the
the
number?
question about
Because
composition,
you're ignoring the question about size.
ignoring.
Like most men, you're lying about size.
We're going to
Yappington, my
cover
question.
size first, and then we're going to cover
Yeah,
quality.
what is the size?
Size
What should the
first.
size be, Yappington?
The size should be directly relevant to its
What number?
composition.
What
So tell
number?
me, what is it? What is
What
its
number?
composition? It
No.
changes depending on the population you're
All right, I got a better
attempting to
question.
describe, the
There you
sample
go.
size of the
So
study,
listen,
all of these things.
when you look at the population you're trying to generalize to, you pick out the variables that are important to you, and from there you can construct the composition of the sample you pick. So if it's going to generalize only to non-Hispanic white men, then that's all we have to particularly worry about in the sample. So the
I
composition of the
didn't say
sample
it was
isn't
generalizing
important
to
to you.
non-Hispanic white men.
I know
I
that. That's
was
my example. That's my example.
right,
If we
right,
are
and
listen,
we're
listen,
trying to determine.
listen,
Hold on, because we're
listen.
trying to
Oh,
determine
no,
the
no, no.
relevance.
Yappington, just listen to the person
Just
who actually does
listen.
statistics. Like, you're
For
so
fuck's
fucking
sake.
stupid. Like, it's embarrassing.
The thing you need to be criticizing or questioning is, let me see the components of the sample that was pulled, and let me see then who I can generalize it to. If this study is purporting to be generalizable to everyone in the entire country, then we want to see the representation in the sample. But if not, if it's only
But isn't that
generalizing
what
to
he's
a
claiming?
subset, oh my fucking god!
No, Irish. The
Oh my
study
fucking
Irish
god!
brought up was
Irish, how do you do this
the.
every day?
It-
How do you
it's
do
Hold
very
this?
on,
difficult.
hold on. Irish brought up a study that was trying to determine the prevalence of grape amongst men and women. Right? We have to account for the entire population. We can't pick and choose which group we want to sample out of this.
You think
We're
there weren't
talking
equal
about. We're
parts men and women
determining.
in the sample? Do you think that there
Yappington,
really weren't equal
yeah,
parts men and women in the sample?
they
We're trying.
obviously, Yappington, you're not aware of this.
Trying.
Yappington,
My
let me
blood
help you
pressure.
because you're really just stupid, okay? In order to be able to make generalizations about a population, you have to be very specific about what population you're referring to, right? The demographics that they normalize for are race, age. I believe they have an urban versus suburban versus rural indicator as well. And they normalize based upon what the average population is in America against what it is they receive back from from the people who they send it out to. Meaning, if they send it out to 240,000 people and no black people respond, then the results are not able to be applied to black people, right?
Exactly. And then
That's
that's
how
the
it's
limitation.
done.
Exactly.
It's a limitation.
So
That's
hold
how
on.
it's
We're
done.
all.
Hang
That's
on.
a limitation. So
You're
what?
an
You'll
idiot.
have them.
You're so close to being educated. Just shut the fuck up. And so for some reason, I don't know why you need to be told that that's what happens. When someone states that it is a representative sample or a representative
Yes.
survey, what they're usually indicating is that the key variables, which are usually age, race, and I think there's a couple of other
Socioeconomic
key
usually.
socioeconomic,
Or,
exactly.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
material variables are normalized for, accounted for. That's part of the process, Yappington. So respectfully, you're a moron.
Yeah.
You're just a fucking
Right,
moron.
and you
Yeah.
just admitted that
Yeah,
the
less
study
than
you brought
undergrads.
up
Less than my
doesn't.
undergrads.
You just admitted that the study you brought up doesn't actually account for the
Yes,
entirety
it
of
does.
So
Who said it doesn't? It literally
determines.
it
Hold
literally
on, hold on, hold on.
accounts
Oh my God!
for
Can I
region,
speak?
age,
Like
sex,
It's
what the fuck?
race.
representative. What does representative mean, Yappington? What does representative mean?
Y'all haven't even told me what the composition of the sample is.
Because you
I
didn't do your
just
homework.
told you.
No. Irish made a specific claim. He said 9 out of 10
Hey,
victims
Irish,
of
mute
rape
him. I
are
want to role
women.
play with you. I want to role play with
Go
you.
Irish?
ahead. Shoot.
Okay, so
I've been waiting for this day.
I've been counting. So you just said, "Hey, I want to tell y'all about this this survey that I found, and it tells us that this data about men and women." And I, as Yappington, I'm kind of curious. Like, I wonder, gosh, did they do a good job of that? I'm really curious. So I'm gonna say, "Hey, Irish, I'm wondering, that sample that's in that survey, is it by any chance representative? Did they do like a good job at that?" You'd be like, "Huh, good question." You'd look, you'd be like, "What would you say?" Sorry, I
would
was
say
role
that-
playing and I took over.
No, I would say that what they've done is they've identified certain basic characteristics such as age, sex, race, and location. And for location, again, they broke it down into urban, suburban, and rural. and they've taken those particular population characteristics in order to determine, in order to figure out whether or not the number that they're getting back in terms of responses is large enough to be able to represent the individual individual groups within those different demographics.
So, did they happen to separate people out by immigration status, like whether they were citizens or if they were maybe recently arrived? Is that one of the variables that they sussed out?
Actually, that one I don't know. I've never looked in to see whether or not they're looking.
Probably not.
Okay.
So since
Can I ask
hang
a
on,
question
Yappington,
then?
I am not done. I am not done with my role play. I'm still acting.
You interrupted me.
I am not done. So, thank you for that, Irish. I think that possibly if they didn't separate out those variables, we'd be cautious about whether we should apply these ideas to people who have only recently come here. We should probably be pretty circumspect about whether we discuss the kind of rates that happen here in the country on people who are recent immigrants. But outside of that, I feel like it's pretty generalizable. Thank you for that.
I would agree too. Thank you for asking those questions instead of coming up here and acting like a fucking know-it-all when you don't know shit. I appreciate that, Emmy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so can I ask my question now?
You missed all that.
Is it a good question?
What percent? You said that this was based on self-reported data. What percent of the respondents were male versus female?
Oh my god.
I mean, I could go look at it, but I mean, I would assume it's going to be for surveys.
Let's not assume. Let's not assume.
Oh my
Just
god!
tell
This
me
is not a deconstruction of a survey. This is you saying 200,000 could never be
because
enough,
you're making
and it is absolutely possible to have it be enough.
Making it.
Yappington, you're too stupid.
We made no
You're
claims.
too stupid.
Making
You're
it-
too stupid. You're honestly too stupid. Look, you came up here, you don't know what N is. You come up here, you don't know what a confidence level is. You come up here, you literally don't even know that there's like sample size calculators that allow you to be able to determine what an adequate number is. You're the one who doesn't know terms like weighting. You're the one who probably doesn't understand how it is they use weighting in order to make sure that it is representative. You're the idiot here.
Ask
We're
him
done
what
with this
effect size
conversation.
is. I did an entire dissertation with an N of 40 because I had such a huge effect size. I could have done it with 2. You don't know what effect size even is.
So, what percent of the respondents for this study were male versus female? Because this is entirely relevant to the conversation. You made a claim. You made a claim based on this study. So you have to defend that claim.
Really? You made a claim?
He said that 9 out of 10 victims of SA or rape or whatever he said
of adults
were women. Okay, so what percent of the respondents were male versus female? Also, it's relevant because you said race was mentioned in the study. This is also relevant because, for example, Black women are at higher risk for SA than other demographics of women. So we need to figure out.
Unless we're asking about race, we collapse those variables. We collapse it into gender.
That's the normalization part.
Yes, but that's not appropriate because different demographics suffer things at different rates.
If
so
they
it's not
didn't
really
ask enough Black women, then they won't generalize it to Black women. If they didn't ask enough,
which would make the study not truly representative of the population, which is my point.
It means you carefully generalize it. That's all. It just means you look at it and you say, "Who can I generalize this to?" That's it. That's what science is. It's not truth.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yes. Oh my god.
Everybody doesn't suffer.
I can't believe you're fighting me.
We know that, you moron. We understand not every group does. What are you not understanding? We understand that.
Go read it yourself. Do your
homework. Y'all haven't even told me what the fucking study is.
Yes, we have. We'll say it to you again.
National Crime Victimization Survey.
In fact, Yappington, here's what we're going to do. Because you're going to have round 2, Yappington, okay? We're going to drop you because you're really fucking stupid, right? We're going to now, can someone type in the comments, because we know that there's no way he's going to remember this, right? Can someone type in the comments, DOJ National Crime Victimization Survey. DOJ National Crime Victimization Survey. And what Yappington's going to do, because Amy, being actually educated in statistics is not good enough, what Yappington's going to do is, Yappington's going to go research the study. Then he's going to come back and he's going to educate us all on the specific reasons why that survey should not be trusted. Yappington, you've got 20 minutes. I really look forward to your homework. Next.
There were eight statisticians on the
Thank
paper.
you, Amy.
Delusional.
You're
It's
welcome.
gotta be delusion. It's gotta be delusion and
No,
ego.
it's not. You all have made me hate myself. It's the audacity of fucking dudes. It's just it's pure audacity. It's the idea that he's got someone up here who's actually specialized in this area, and he has the audacity to be like, "No, I know better because I Googled it once." I don't see women do that. I
remember
don't.
it from undergrad. Never once acted like he was like I never ever. No man, all women, and almost no man. 1% of you recognize that there's a P at the end of my name there. Fuck him. Fuck got me all heated. Irish, not in the good way. Do better.
Amy, yeah, well, on the second role play, we'll definitely work on that. Can we get a W, Amy, in the chat, please?
True. W.
Luke
Hulk smash!
and is that Alpon or Ipon?
Yo, Irish, how do you never remember my fucking name, dude?
My bad. Sorry. What's up?
How you doing, man?
What's your take?
Right. I'm curious. When we say false accusations, are we talking about like to be fair, instead of like trying to play guessing games with definitions, what are you guys defining false accusations as?
Purely as the allegation. Purely as someone saying out loud, "This person did something to me." And let's get rid of the semantic argument. I'm sure in the history of ever, some person's life has been ruined based upon a false accusation alone. However, what I think the norm is, to the extent false accusations ever actually harm lives, it will almost always, in my opinion, be due to a racism or toxic masculinity or socioeconomic reasons. Not the actual allegation itself. It'll be due to some sort of systemic bias or bigotry that uses the false accusation to target and marginalize a subgroup. That's my argument.
Sure. Okay, so when we say the allegation itself, are we talking like somebody makes like a bold-faced lie?
Someone says this person raped me.
Yeah, but so I'm saying, like, for the clarifier, are they openly lying or are they like misinformed?
Openly lying.
I can get both sides of it. I think I probably agree with your side a bit. I'm probably definitely leaning to your argument more than anything. But I can definitely see where people are coming from when they say, like, no, it just ruins lives.
I mean, I think that comes from a place of indoctrination and misinformation. Because if you turn around and you ask someone specifically, name a white man whose life has been ruined as a result of a false accusation, it's usually very hard to give any examples, personal or public.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
And that's because, like, the examples they tend to use are black men, and the reason I would argue that happens is more racism. It's not the allegation. It's sort of similar to the Emmett Till issue, right? The accusation was just weaponized by racists who just wanted to be able to hurt black people. And so I think that you have to realize then the accusation itself isn't what had the power. It's the fact that people were racist and were looking for an opportunity to do something. And when you have people join these panels today, they almost always will point to a black man who has had their life ruined, quote unquote, due to a false allegation, but never a white dude. And there's a reason for that, because the allegation on its own doesn't tend to ruin a person's life, like ever.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think when you look at more like, average human beings, it probably doesn't ruin their lives in the grand scheme. They might lose a couple friends, but that's about it. But like, I think when you look to famous people, I think I'm probably getting people mixed up here, but I think it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Got accused of something a couple of years ago, and to be fair, fuck that off. It didn't ruin his life. It ruined.
I was about to say.
It ruined stuff for like a year or two, and then he was entirely fine. So I'll fuck that one off.
The whole point of my prompt is that whenever men say it ruins lives, that's a gross mischaracterization of the harm, because it doesn't. It's an inconvenience at most.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, and even the Ronaldo, I mean, are you talking about the one from 14 years ago or so? Because
I
I
don't
don't
know how
think that
long.
was I don't think that was found to be a false allegation.
I don't know. I don't keep up with football or footballers. The only thing I know is Ronaldo was accused, and then I heard people say false allegation. He got dropped by a bunch of sponsors, and then now he's fine. That's all I know about it. So
Yeah, but that's exactly my point. And that's the point of this prompt is that
yeah, that's fine.
men always come up and they'll say, oh, there was this example of false accusation. Ronaldo's never proven it was a false allegation. In fact, if it's the one I'm thinking about, it's recently popped up again because she has started to make press about it. But this was 15 years ago, and he paid her off. Now, I'm not going to say that's indicative of his guilt, but he sure as hell didn't fight it. He paid her off in order to silence her 15 years ago, and he's never proven that it was false.
Yeah, you're right. He paid her 350K, and then he's now
Yeah.
suing her for damages. Yeah, fair enough. No, I agree. I agree with the problem.
Yeah, so I just feel like guys overstate the prevalence of how often false accusations happen, and they grossly overstate the harm, while at the same time, they minimize how often grape does happen, and they greatly minimize the harm that grape does. And it's fucked up. Like, there's some people who've seen this prompt and they're like, oh my God, how can you say that? And it's like, it's just astonishing to me how many times guys will play down how harmful grape is, but play up false accusations, which almost never happen and very rarely even hurt a guy. It's, I don't know, it's deplorable in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. I think we definitely do. I hate to sound like the fucking Joker, but we do live in a society, and obviously with like living in a society where men still have the overarching power despite being 50% of the population. There always is going to be like the issue of something bad happens to man, that is bad. Like, instead of just like a neutral standpoint of, yeah, it's probably going to be all right, pal, you'll live. But yeah, no, I agree with the prompt. Fair enough.
Okay, cool. Luke, what's your take? And then Sunny. You're unmuted, but not talking.
You hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
My bad. What's it called? I think it can really go 50-50 depending on what you want to define ruined lives as.
I mean, why don't you tell us what you think false allegations do?
Well, I think on one half, if it happens to like an athlete, like an athlete who's grinded all their life to make it to like the league or something like that, and then it gets ruined by false accusation, I can say
I would say
agree
that
with
ruined their career, not their life. Your
Well, if
your
you
life isn't based off of your career. If you're basing your life off of your career goals, you might want to get different priorities.
Well, I mean, you can say that, but what if you like go from being a projected first round pick to making a teacher salary like Sean Oakman has?
I
Sean
mean,
Oakman was never
again,
making
you
bank.
should have
What are you
got a
talking
better
about?
degree.
No, Sean. If
You should
you
have.
watch
I guess
football,
you
Sean
should have got
Oakman
a
was a
better
projected first round pick.
degree, Luke. The thing is you should have gotten a better degree, which could have, you could have invested time into your education, knowing that an education is going to be far more useful to you than your sport ever will. So you could have invested time into a better education. You could have gotten a better degree. You could have, just invested in yourself a little bit more and not prioritize sports, because it's never a guarantee that you're going to continue to get to play year after year after year. So, like, I don't know why people always bring up sports as if that's like some sort of a right. It's a privilege to play in these sports. And again, people lead happy lives when, like, not playing sports. So, like, it's not ruining your life.
Well, here's the thing with Sean Oakman. He was a projected first round pick. You do know NFL first round picks, their rookie contracts are around $1 million.
And you understand he passed on it, right? He ended up doing
He didn't
another
pass
year.
on it. No one drafted him. He went undrafted.
No, he was
Yeah, he went undrafted in the NFL.
No, he was a projected first round pick in 2015. He decided to return to Baylor, do another year. And the reason why he was a projected first round pick in 2015 was because his breakout year was 2015. His 2014 year was mid at best. In his 2014
He
year,
was young at the time.
okay, I'm sorry, he aged a lot in 1 year. Is that what your fucking
No,
argument
he's
is?
a
Like, can
young
we not be
football
so fucking
player.
stupid?
Young
So in
football
two,
players don't always have good years. He's not Marvin Harrison Jr.
that's fantastic. So for the 2015 NFL draft, he had about, I think it was like 30 tackles, which is a very good fucking number. He, instead of deciding to go into the NFL, he stuck another year in Baylor. That next year, he went from having 30 tackles to less than 5. Okay?
Because he was
And
injured, but injured
hang
players
on,
still go first round picks.
exactly. So his next year, which he decided to go back to Baylor, he ended up flunking. He did a really bad year. Now, a couple of people, Chris Burke of Sports Illustrated, said that he could have been a first round pick for 2016, but it was not a unanimous first round pick like it was the year before. And it was determined by a lot of people that his only good year was for the 2015 consideration, which would have been 2014. And that his 2013 year was weak, and his 2015 year was weak. So when you say he was a first round pick, he was projected to be in 2014. He fucked up big time. Then he ended up being projected by a handful of people for 2016 draft, but never ended up getting picked. How do you know he wasn't picked because of the allegations brought against him?
Because before I go on that, if you're a pick, it doesn't matter if you're first round, second round, third round pick, you'll still
How do you
be
know
a
he was going to be a
millionaire.
pick?
Because of his allegations. He got his
How
allegations
do you
right
know
before the
that?
draft. Right before the draft.
Hang on. You understand when you say right before, how long before did it come out?
I'm not exactly sure, but I know he was talking about getting drafted, like right as the allegations got around. It was after the season, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, how long before? It was 2 weeks beforehand. Luke, it was 2 weeks beforehand.
All I know is that, like, bro should have either taken the opportunity earlier, because the NFL does a real good job of defending their predatory ass men who play for them. So he should have taken the opportunity first, and he did not. So that was a fuck up on his part. Maybe he shouldn't have graped someone within the time that he, initially rejected that offer and then decided he wanted to play again. Like, I don't know. Sue me. Call me crazy.
More importantly,
Maybe he shouldn't have graped.
the reason why I don't understand why everyone keeps pointing at fucking Sean Oakman is, you understand that he had an assault allegation against a random female cashier, and he also had an assault allegation from his girlfriend. That's got nothing to do. Like, it was 2013 that I think he assaulted the clerk. I think it was 2014 that he ended up assaulting his girlfriend. And then in 2015, he rounded it off for the Trinity and ended up graping someone. And that grape was never found to be a false allegation.
Yeah, also, again, like, Luke, he, like, clearly, he should have invested, again, I'll say this again, should have invested in his education more, and he shouldn't have, got comfortable with the idea that he was for sure going to make it into football, and probably chose some dumbass degree that, doesn't actually serve him in any sort of purpose. And I'm sorry, but there are dumbass degrees out there. I'm sorry to anyone who I just offended, but, like, be for real. There are dumbass degrees that aren't gonna do a whole lot for you. So if he wanted to make more money, he could have done that by investing in his education at Baylor into a different degree.
I'm also really curious, if he's such a goddamn great football player, why is it he hasn't been able to stick with a team? Why is it his first few years when he should have been at his peak, why did he get jumped around? He was flipped from the Triangle Torch to the Spring League to the West Virginia Rough Riders. He changed teams, I think it was 6 times within a 3-year period. But you're claiming he was going to be this next great big thing? What are you talking about, dude? You read some fucking article one time and you thought you knew about this case, and you didn't know shit about it. It's embarrassing. And let me guess. Luke, let me ask you this question. Are you white or are you black?
I'm white.
Yeah, why is it the only fuck time white guys care about black people is when you're able to use them in order to be able to deflect from what other men do? Why is that?
Not true.
Luke,
So do you support Black Lives Matter?
Huh?
Do you support Black Lives Matter?
Yes. Why wouldn't anyone support it?
I'm just curious because I just find white people seem to only give a shit about black men, when they're able to claim that false allegations are an epidemic.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Wait, before
When
you
you
ask him
said
a
Sean
question, Luke.
Oakman,
Before you ask him a question, Luke, why are we talking about Sean Oakman when the prompt is about false accusations?
because Sean Oakman was not found guilty.
That doesn't mean it was a false accusation.
Well, they could have used a rape kit to find out if it
That
was
does
true.
not
No,
mean
that's not
it was a
true.
false accusation. Do you understand that?
They
Just
also
because
did.
found not guilty doesn't mean it was a false accusation.
They also did do. So first of all, you don't even know what a grape kit is. It's fucking
Did he
embarrassing. You even
deny
said that.
having sex with this woman?
No, exactly.
It's also just like kind of grotesque that like the men always come up here suggesting, oh, it's just so easy. Just do a grape kit. Just do a grape kit. It's so easy. Like as if women's bodies are like something that should be poked and prodded after something happened to them. Like bro, have more respect.
But he did. But he did. And in this case, Luke, had you bothered to fucking even look into it, right? The medical examiner testified at the trial that she had injuries to her pelvis that were consistent with grape. So what are you talking about, bro?
Luke, you've been mentioning he's been specifically mentioning college athletes, correct?
You can also bring up Deshaun Watson went out here 50. I got a question to ask you.
Can you answer my question first? We were talking about college
Does Brussels
athletes,
not
correct?
exist? Yeah, Brussels is asking you something.
Well, I asked my question before Brussels.
You didn't.
So I did. I
Can you
answered
just
Ernesto's questions.
answer Russell's question? It'll be a quick yes or
You
no.
said,
Okay.
what about Deshaun Watts or whatever after I asked a question? Be so for real.
No, I actually asked that before, but I'll
Oh,
answer
you
your
did.
question.
She asked, and you said, "What about?" I want to ask 50 a question. What about Deshaun Watson? She asked before you did.
Brussels, what's your question?
You were speaking about college athletes, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so do you think that if a college athlete is found guilty of sexual misconduct, that they should still be able to play?
No.
Okay, so can you tell me why in 2019, 28 college athletes that were found guilty of sexual misconduct in a 5-year period went on to transfer to different schools and still play?
Because college is it's a dirty place.
Can you tell me why, even though athletes are more likely to be arrested for sexual assault and domestic violence, they're 30% more likely to commit that act. They are also 75% less likely to ever face prosecution.
What do you want me to say to that?
I'm asking, why do you think that's so? If you think that like these false allegations ruin lives.
Because they're rich. But that's because they already made it.
I'm sorry, did I not establish the demographic we were talking about when we started
If
this
you have money,
conversation?
you can get away with more crimes.
Critical thinking skills is interesting. But yes, so this person that you're speaking about, did they go to prison?
Who, Deshaun Watson or Sean Oakman?
Sean Oakman or whoever it was, who went to Baylor, the Baylor athlete, everyone.
Sean Oakman.
Oakman.
Yeah, did they go to prison?
Nope.
No, I don't think so. Probably not.
So what was the statistic I just gave you?
But I don't know. It already
75%
went out one year and
go
out
to
the
prison
other.
even when they are guilty. So
All right, 50.
Yeah, what?
When you said I said that I claimed Sean Oakman was such a good athlete that how come he's been passed around teams and all that? He can't stay with the team.
Are you about to finish your statement?
No, that was what I'm saying. Do you remember when he said that?
Yeah, he sucked for his first 5 years out. He started
I know.
getting good around about
Reason why is 'cause
2022.
when Deshaun Watson was on the Texans before his allegations, he was an amazing player, MVP conversation player.
In what year?
2019, dude. Deshaun
Wait,
Watson
hang on.
was a
Did
top
you
three
just hear what I
quarterback in
just said?
2019.
Did you hear what I just said?
You said what year?
His first couple of years were really bad, and then
Now we're
the
talking about a
past
different
couple of years.
Wait, who? Deshaun Watson?
No, Deshaun Watson. Sorry, Deshaun
Yeah.
Watson. You mean the person who's been accused by 24 women?
Yeah, but I was saying before
24 are
those
lying?
allegations. Before
Hang on,
those
all
allegations.
24 are Sorry, I didn't know you'd moved on. All 24 of those women are lying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I'm bringing up how, do you remember?
We weren't talking about Deshaun Watson before.
No,
Previously,
you just weren't, you
we were
probably just
talking
weren't
about Sean
listening.
Oakman, right?
No, but you made a point how Sean Oakman was, how I said he's quote unquote good, but he can't stay on a team because he's bad. or because he's not performing?
I said that in his first couple of years, he was flipped and tossed around to 6 different teams. And in the past couple of years, I think he's with the Argonauts or something. He's
Yeah, he's in the
really,
Canadian Football League.
Yeah, he's in the CFL.
in the Argonauts, he's been doing very good since 2021 or so. What is your point? Quickly.
No, but I'm saying like what's called before
What's your point?
allegations,
Get to your
players
point,
are
you
usually
fucking
good.
Wait a second. You think this man moved from America to Canada to play in the CFL and that ruined his life?
Bro, y'all are letting me finish.
I'm just clarifying. You think that going from America to Canada is like life ruining?
No, it just means you aren't good enough to play in the actual American League. But before players like Deshaun Watson, he was an incredible player. But after
No,
the
he was not.
allegations,
Wait,
he's not a good player anymore. Allegations can
He
mess
was
with your
not
head,
a
can mess with
great
your playing.
player.
wait. No. You cannot conflate those two things because that happens with a lot of players that aren't accused either. Russell Wilson was a great player until he wasn't playing with the Seattle Seahawks anymore,
He's
and he was
old.
awful.
Old
It doesn't
players. Deshaun
matter.
Watson's not old.
Deshaun Watson is older than Russell Wilson.
No, he's not. Russell Wilson was in the league 5 years before Deshaun Watson was.
Hold on. Let me stop.
Deshaun Watson was drafted in 2017.
But you're saying that just because these first of all, again, you're saying false allegations do. So that's assuming
He ran out the city of Houston. He was traded.
That is assuming that those were all false allegations, which you cannot prove.
No, I'm not saying they're right or I'm just saying allegations in general.
Okay. What's that? Well, don't
That
do
ruined him
anything
as a
to
player.
No,
That
hang on,
ruined
hang on.
Deshaun as a player.
to get alleged things.
This is annoying me because I opened by addressing this. It's fucking annoying you did that, Luke. Luke, I'll say it again. In 2013, he had a mid-year. In 2014, he had a great year. He had about 35 tackles, if I remember looking at it last time. And the next year, he had 5 tackles, from 35 to 5. So when you're saying he had a great year, or he was a great player before the allegations, in 2013, he was mid. In 2014, he had a great year. In 2015, before the allegation, he had a bad year. In 2016, because of injuries. So you admit he had a bad year. He's not even a fucking football player in the pro league yet, and he's got injuries. You understand most people don't want to draft someone who's prone to injuries, right, Luke?
A
How
majority of
fucking
teams
dumb
draft
are
people who
you?
are prone to injuries.
How dumb are you? Seriously.
Also,
what's the point?
none of these were proven false allegations. Like, it's so funny to me that men. It's so funny to me, Luke, that you would sit here and say that, and men like you would sit here and say, I need proof of an allegation to call someone a rapist. But when it comes to a false allegation, you don't need any sort of court case. You don't need any sort of conviction. You don't need anything like that to, substantiate the fact that, you're calling this person a liar, because you are. By saying it's a false allegation, you're saying that these victims lied about rape.
I won't say that about Sean Oakman.
How much, what do you do for a living?
Go to college.
Okay, what do you make? Do you make any
I'm a
money at all?
freshman in college. I don't have
Okay,
Sure.
all right, what's your job you're likely going to go into?
veterinarian.
Great, all right. At the age of 30, how much money do you think you're going to have as a veterinarian? What do you think your net worth is going to be?
My net worth? Well, most veterinarians don't start making peak money until over the age of 30. Takes
So
a
how
long
much
time.
money do you think you're going to have by the age of 30?
I mean, hopefully a couple 100,000.
Okay. Sean Oakman's worth $2 million today. Worth $2 million. Can you explain to me how a man who's been able to work in the Canadian Professional Football League, who's worth $2 million, has had his life ruined? Can you explain that to me? He is more successful than you could ever hope to be. How is it? Are you telling me that you're in college right now and you're putting all this time into college to be a failure of a man because your life is going to be worse than this guy's life? Explain that to me. No.
Damn, bro and son.
Luke, can you do you remember the RG3 allegations?
Oh, I thought you said orgy.
No. Do you remember the RG3 allegations, Luke?
The Robert Griffin allegations?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not necessarily.
No. Okay. So why do you explain his decline in his play? How can you explain that?
Because he tore his ACL.
Okay,
Broke his
so it
leg.
was due to injury. It was due to injury. And was Deshaun Watson ever hurt?
Never.
Never?
Dude, Deshaun Watson was an incredible player before the allegations. You can't. I'm a Texans fan. I'm from Texas.
Are they
I watched all the games.
or were they false allegations?
They haven't been proven.
Hang on. 20
They've been
plus women.
disproven?
20 plus
No, they
women
haven't been
accused
disproven
him. 20 plus women accused him. Are you claiming they're all lying?
No, I'm just saying. They're not proven.
So why do you
and
feel
they're
bad
not-
for a rapist?
Huh?
If you're saying they're not lying, you're saying that some of them are being honest. So why are you up here feeling bad for a rapist?
Not saying I'm feeling bad. I'm just saying he's just very unlucky.
Can I
I mean,
please?
I also don't understand why you're lying, because like Watson has been plagued with injuries, so I don't know where the fuck you're getting that nonsense from.
His injuries never affected his play.
Luke,
He was
Oh, so
injured
he
for
did
the
have
Texans,
injuries.
Texans, a pierced lung.
So he
a pierced lung
did.
and
So
a
he
poked
did get
eye.
injured when his ACL was torn in 2014. Did you forget about that?
With the Clemson dude. He came back and won Heisman.
And
What are
he
you talking
had.
about?
You said he had no injuries. Did you forget about that? He's torn his ACL. He's had a finger fracture. He's had a clavicle fracture. He's had a lower lumbar sprain. He's had
And all
loads
that
of
to come back
injuries.
and win
He's had a
Heisman and
torn
Rookie of the Year and Offensive Rookie of the
rotator
Year
cuff.
and lead the Texans to their first
So he has
playoff.
had injuries, correct?
Wait, so you're saying that because he was okay to play in those years, those injuries can't come back and haunt him later in his career?
You said
Obviously
Luke. You
not.
said that
He
you
was-
want to
dude,
be
he
a
was
vet.
MVP conversation as a
Is your
rookie. Bro, y'all
undergraduate
can't
degree in
talk football with me.
biology?
I'm too knowledgeable on this.
No, you're
Y'all
Luke,
can't
not.
talk football with me.
Jesus
tell me
Christ,
about-
Luke, is your undergraduate degree in biology? You said you're a freshman, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what kinesiology is?
Yes, it's a study of like. It's like
Yeah.
working
So,
out. I have a
do you
basic
think
understanding.
sports injuries are preventable?
Yes.
They're not really preventable. No. Fun fact for you.
Oh no, I didn't even hear that. I just said no. I
You
didn't
said
hear you.
yes. You think they're preventable. Anyways,
No, they're not preventable.
injuries still have the ability to affect you later on down in your career. So like the argument that you're making is kind of a non-starter, especially when you consider that you're losing playing time, experience, and conditioning when you're off the field.
I understand that, but if you watch Deshaun Watson play, he has nothing to do with his injuries, bro. He's just mentally not the same.
What about
player.
the shoulder
He's not
injury
any
he
faster. His
had?
arms not any less
I
stronger.
asked, hey, dude,
So
I
what
don't
you're
like to
talking
say.
about, though, what you're talking about is not necessarily something that he experienced due to the false allegation. It also has to do with the psychology of sports itself. If you are perpetually injured and your career is riding off you not being injured, naturally there's going to be some like not playing the same after you get injured a few times.
Wait, hang on. When we're talking about injured a few times, Luke, I don't talk about the fact that I know a little bit about the NFL. Am I wrong? Didn't he literally get a shoulder injury in the beginning of the 2023 season that took
I
him out
think
for
so.
several weeks?
I think
right?
so. I'm not gonna.
Hang on. I know it because apparently I pay attention more than you. He had
No,
a
I
shoulder.
mean-
Yes. Okay. Shut up. I'm so tired of educating you idiots. Yappington came in here and tried to educate me on statistics, and now you're going to educate me on football. Listen, you fucking moron. He had a bad shoulder injury in like game 1, 2, or 3 in 2013. It took him out for several weeks.
23.
He came back. Wait, what? You have it?
2023.
2023. He came back after a couple of weeks out due to the shoulder injury. He tried to play it, and he ended up re-injuring it later on, like midway during the season. He then kept playing again, and then he had a season-ending shoulder fracture that ended up requiring surgery by the end of the season. He injured his shoulder 3 different times in 2023. And you're going to tell me that he didn't play good because he had stress? And you're not going to acknowledge the fact that he had 3 major fucking issues with his shoulder last year? What are you talking about, dude?
Did you
It's
say he tore
embarrassing.
his rotator cuff?
He had a tear. Yeah, he had a tear in his rotator cuff. His
A
shoulder
lot of
rotator.
people don't
like in baseball players and stuff, a lot of them do not go back to playing, especially if they're like college athletes.
Oh, I actually tore my rotator cuff a few months ago, and I'm already back
you're not
playing
a star
sports.
athlete. Shut up, you moron. Can someone who knows more
I actually
about
got a college
sports...
offer to play.
Shut up, you're a moron. Can someone Google it for me? Because I don't know, like, injury... There's got to be some website that, like, tracks injuries and stuff. Can someone look up Deshaun Watson? Because I know he had a number of shoulder injuries in 2023, and then he had a season-ending injury with his shoulder, I think.
I want to point out to you, Luke, that I think what's more likely to ruin an athlete's life, especially when we're talking about football, is going to be CTE and the prevalence of CTE in NFL players.
CTE is bad.
Okay,
prevalence of false allegations. So if you want to like advocate for something, maybe advocate for that instead of caping for rapists.
So, okay, so all of his NFL history, all of his NFL injuries.
Oh, fuck yeah.
2017, Watson tore his right ACL in practice.
That's what I said.
November of 2017. December of 2019, back lower lumbar sprain. September 2023, shoulder rotator cuff tear.
What week was that? The rotator cuff.
September was week 3.
Okay, was he out? Because I know he was out for several weeks.
He returned to play in week 7, and then
4 weeks out with his shoulder. Okay,
and then in week 9, the shoulder scapula fracture.
Crazy, Luke. I thought you knew about football, my dude.
I literally knew about those injuries except the shoulder.
You said that he wasn't injured when I brought it up.
I was referring to Texans. I was referring to Texans.
No. Now you're trying to switch it up. Now you're moving the goalpost because I mentioned RG3. You talked about his injury, and then I said, "Well, so you're saying Deshaun wasn't his injury?" You said no.
But his injuries, Deshaun Watson's injuries never affected his play. If you
he
actually
has the lowest completion rate.
You should know that.
He's had his
ACL,
lowest.
Came back and brought.
Dumbass. He had his lowest completion rate last year. What are you talking about? He had a career low in passing success rate. Do you even know stats?
Last year.
Why do I know more about this than you do? This is embarrassing. I don't even like football. I just have a lot of football friends who talk about this nonsense.
Sean didn't even play all his games last year. That's why his completion.
Exactly. And why didn't he?
Bro, who gives a flying fuck about football? It's irrelevant to any of this.
Still not, the whole
Likes
point
football
is
so much he's simping for a rapist.
The
That's
whole
what I
point.
said. Why are you not advocating like for CTE or something? Like even that causes
Because
people to
CTE,
like
everyone already
murder
knows
people.
about that. You can't prevent CTE
Like,
no matter
I'm
how
so
much.
tired of hearing sports this, football that. He throws a fucking ball. He
And he's good
tackles
at it.
people.
He's
I
good
don't
at throwing the
care.
ball. Wow.
It's not like
We're not talking about
it's not
football. We're
life
talking about the
ruining.
accusations. We're talking about false
It's not life
accusations, and
ruining.
you're not, and you're not making your case here because neither one of the athletes you brought up were proven to be falsely
Look at
accused of
Brian
anything.
Banks. Look at Brian Banks.
Also, shut up. You're such a moron.
One
Also,
question.
you're such a moron. Well, hang on. I just want to say you're such a moron because when you said you can't prevent CTEs, what the fuck's the Guardian cap about? You
I said
fucking
you can't
idiot. Shut up. Go ahead, Brussels.
I want to know when this guy tore his rotator cuff.
2023.
Last year.
How old was he?
I think Sean's 31 or 32.
31 at the time.
Okay. So it just took like a quick Google search. Players over 30 that experience a rotator cuff injury are significantly less likely to go back and play.
Weird.
But that just proves he's an animal because he's back and playing.
It doesn't
Bro,
matter.
no
He's
one
also
cares.
been accused of
Interesting you called him an
24 women.
animal because he's back and playing and not because of the allegations against him.
Luke, is that all that your life revolves around? Is simping for men who play sports and feel big and bad about
I
themselves?
think you could have just stopped at simping for men, Mac.
I mean, I don't know. I'm also a college athlete, so I can
Yeah,
relate
Luke,
to these
you're not
college
gonna go
athletes.
pro. Like, I don't. I hate
You're
to
gonna
crush your
ask them
dream.
how
but
they can get out of grape? Is that what you're gonna do?
No, because I know when to not be around women, especially white girls when they get drunk at parties. Want to falsely accuse people.
That's crazy.
Ooh, yikes. Did you
Being around women is
don't have
what
sex
sets grape.
with drunk girls. It doesn't matter their race. Maybe just don't, engage in drunk sex, and then you won't get accused.
Men who engage in
Really
like
that easy.
espousing grape myths are more likely to
Wait,
commit
no,
acts of
you guys have
sexual
got to have just
aggression.
missed what Luke just said. You just said, I know when to not be around women. So you're saying that if you're around women, you can't control yourself. You should go pro. You sound like a pure NFL player. You can't control yourself around women? They're drunk?
No, I said I leave when women do that.
He's trying to pretend that women make false allegations,
the
so he
point
avoids
is,
them.
Luke, is it shouldn't matter if they're drunk. You should be able to control yourself and say, hey, we're not...
Never said, bro, you're just putting words in my mouth.
You literally just said you leave when women get drunk around you. What do
That's called leaving a situation.
There's no
I mean,
situation.
maybe you could just like Luke. No one's
Wouldn't
gonna
no
just randomly
self-control mean I
accuse
stay
you.
around them?
No,
No.
because you
Why
should
do you
have the
leave-
self-control to not have sex with drunk women, you fucking sped.
Well, bro, attacking someone personally in an argument does not mean you're winning, bro.
I don't care. You just said you can't control yourself around drunk women.
Luke,
I said I
what
do.
Leave
what
the
sport do you
situation.
play?
Why do you leave? Luke, why do you leave?
Basketball and
Luke,
MMA.
why do you leave?
That's a red flag.
Why do you leave when there's women who are drinking around?
Because as someone who's personally experienced stuff like this, it's bad.
What does that mean? Personally experienced what?
Can I give a personal anecdote, or would y'all consider that
sure.
not true? Just last week, I was at a club at Texas State, and someone, well, girl, obviously, went and grabbed me for no reason because she was drunk, and I'm like, get off me.
Okay, so you'd leave because you don't want women to touch you.
Yeah, because I don't. That's weird. Why would you want fucking girls to grope you for no reason?
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't think he was saying he can't resist. I think he was saying that he doesn't like the environment. Luke, we're going to drop you because you're a moron and you got disproven.
Wait, are you in a frat?
Wait,
No.
I want to know.
No.
So
No, I'm not in a frat.
what university do you go to?
Well, I go to NCT State in Minnesota, but I was just at Texas State
Why were you at Texas State?
because my friend plays Division I football there.
At Texas State? What's his major?
His major?
Yeah.
I didn't ask him, but he's definitely league bound.
I mean, I hope going to Texas State, bro. I hope that athletic career pans out for him because,
That's a good football school.
yeah, football school, not much of a great school for smart people.
Well, I mean, it's subjective, but yeah, the school has a lot of ups and downs.
It's a party school.
It is a party school, very, very much.
Yeah, what I was I'm gonna drop Luke because you're a moron, but just very
All right,
quickly,
I'd kick your ass
Brussels.
inside, but
No, you wouldn't. Shut up, you little bitch. But what I think is sort of amusing and embarrassing for you, Luke, is Brussels brought up actual statistics and actual information, which you just ignored. And I just looked at the study that she looked at with regard to NFL players who have torn rotator cuffs, and it was shown that 66%, I'll say that again, 66% of NFL players over the age of 30 who end up tearing their rotator cuff never be able to return back to play. So maybe your boy didn't end up going back and has not been playing very good due to a career-ending injury as opposed to stress, you moron. Oh, he left. That's sad. Yappington, you did your research?
Yes, and it does
What's your
not say what
criticism?
it says. You said it said that 9 out of 10 rape victims were women. It doesn't even delineate.
Did you take out the children?
Well, the study doesn't even delineate.
Did you take
rape
out the
victims.
children?
What do you mean take out the children?
The survey is 12 plus, right? I said men and women, not including children.
You and I looked at the study you told me to look at, and it doesn't even delineate rape victims between male and female. It only delineates total victimization of all violent crimes between males and females. So how is it saying that 9 out of 10 victims, rape victims, are women? It's not saying what you're saying it says.
Do you have a critique of the actual? So first of all, do you have a critique of the actual survey?
No, it seems valid.
Okay, I'm
valid
looking
enough.
right now. I'm looking right now at one of the surveys. For example,
I didn't look
and
at
this
one of
year-
the surveys. You gave me a specific.
Shut up, moron. And in one of the
Give me
surveys
a
that,
specific
and in one of the, yeah,
up.
I'm talking about that specific survey. I'm looking at one of the years. And in that year, there was a total of, all right, which one is this one for?
2022.
Okay, I mean, I don't know if they've processed this for 2022. What year is this? 2000. Why do I not see a year for this one?
It also has a lot of weird things about it. Well,
In,
I do
in
have
any
some
case, let me
criticism.
finish. Anyway, let me finish. The point is that in this specific year, women made up 100,000 of the people, men made up 92,000 of the people, and it breaks it down by grape. It breaks it down by men and women. It breaks it down by completed grape versus attempted only, and then does the exact same for physical assault. And in this year, it shows that the number of people where there was a completed grape was 15 million women, and
Huh?
or just 15 million.
In 1 year. Because the study I'm looking at from
No, 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 no,
2022,
no.
the
They no.
national.
Hang on. Shh. They normalize it up to the size of the population.
Okay, which
So what
year
they
are you
do is
looking
they
at?
take the sample size. Oh God, let me get you the most recent year. Hang on. And
Like what?
is there anything else that you have to criticize about the study? Because you said the
Well,
study was not done due to composition and size, right?
well, the study that I'm looking at, for example, in 2018, it reported 700 and what was it 64,000 grapes compared to 2021 where it's 324,000, then it jumps back up to
Yeah, there was a
600,000 in
huge
2022.
Yes,
So
there was a
like
huge change and impact on grape as a result of the pandemic. It's been widely talked about.
right, and also when I looked at it, it said it surveyed 143,000 households. Only 64% of those households actually responded. In those households, about 226,000 individuals or unique people were uh, were surveyed, and it doesn't make a breakdown of the respondents, as in what how
When you,
many of those respondents were male or female or black or white. It doesn't make these sort of claims in the study.
I mean, it does. I don't know what to tell you.
So tell me where it does.
I would have to. So I'll go through and I'll find one of the studies right now, and I'll tell you which year, and I'll tell you what the number is. Okay. There's no other
Sure,
critiques whatsoever, right?
bro. You made a claim,
Right.
and you don't even know the study you're trying to
Wait, what do you
you're
mean I
trying to
don't know the
reference.
study? Hang on, you dimwit. What
Like
do you mean I don't know the study?
you said
You
nine.
just asked me to show you for a specific year. I'm looking for
You
that
said
specific year.
9 out of 10 victims of grape
Correct.
were women, according to this study. This study does not make that claim.
Yes, it does.
No, well then tell me where it makes this claim.
I'm looking it up right now. Do you have
I
any
did
other
a pretty good
criticisms?
job being thorough going through the study.
I highly doubt it. Do you have any other
Yeah, okay,
criticisms?
so tell me exactly where it says what you're
I'm
claiming.
asking you a very simple question. Do you have any other criticisms of the survey? Yes or no?
Does the study claim what you're saying it claims? Yes or no?
So
Because
you
I
have
don't see it.
no other issues, correct?
You are not listening. It doesn't tell you the number of respondents that were male or female or black or white or any of these things. It just breaks these numbers down for total victimization of all violent crimes. It's not telling us anything about, at least the one I'm looking at, which is 2022. So
Yeah, it
like
does. I don't know what to tell
which
you.
year are
Anything
you
else you
looking at?
got?
Bro, just concede that it doesn't say what you're saying it
It
says, because you
does.
didn't
Anything
even look
else you
at the
got?
study.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're now telling me I
Wh-
haven't even looked at the study. That's adorable. Anything
Okay, so
else you got?
where does it say this?
I want to ask again to be very super clear. You have no issues with the study. You're just claiming it
I
doesn't say what I
literally
said,
just told
correct?
you what my issues with the study were. You're not
I'll say it
listening.
again. I'll say it again. You have no issues with the studies other than the fact that you claim doesn't show what I said it shows, correct? You believe the study is statistically significant in terms of size, correct?
No, I don't believe that.
Okay, so what's the issue with the size?
It it claims that it relies on 220,000,
Why is that not
226,000,
statistically significant?
because there are 330 million people in America.
That's
Okay,
not an. Oh
and
my
it's
God!
not,
Hang on, you
and
fucking
it's not
moron.
making the,
To everyone who's like
it's
listening,
not
I
making.
know it feels like we're on a fucking like a nightmare where we're just reliving the same nonsense over and over again. Yappington, you had 20 minutes, and you're coming back and you're making the exact same argument that we literally debunked for you.
So
I want you to
Just
explain
tell me
why
where
200,000 is not a large enough number.
Yappington, I can understand
for.
how you might hold that position if
Hold on. Let me, because I want to talk to
I
Irish,
wait,
because we have
this argument
we
before
have
I
this.
just want to say one thing to you. I know your name is Yappington, but you can let me. I'm pretty quick. I can understand how you might hold this view if the sample was taken from like only colleges, like only party schools, or only schools that are known for like having high rates of sexual assault, because that's like a particularly vulnerable demographic. But if it's taken from a representative sample, why do you not think that this is applicable?
Because the study that he told me to look up doesn't even tell me the demographics of the respondents. It only tells me the demographics of the rate of victimization among respondents. So we have no idea what the composition of the sample is.
Okay, so
Also, he
listen
made
up.
a claim.
So listen up. You want to go to icpsr.umich.edu. That's icpsr.umich.edu. And then you want to search for the National Crime Victimization Survey of 2019. And in there, you can download an Excel spreadsheet that gives you the raw data and gives you the specific demographics of every single person who responded to that
Repeat
survey in
that one more time.
2019. Sure, icpsr.umich for University of Michigan .edu, and then search in their discovered data section for the National Crime Victimization Survey of 2019.
If the sample is
Randomized.
yeah, if the sample is randomized and there's no like bias, right, in that sampling method, can you concede that that could be a representative sample, Yappington?
You think this moron's going to concede a single thing?
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
If the sample is randomized and there's no bias in the sampling method, can you concede that that sample can be representative?
How can it be representative if it's randomized and we know there's different rates of victimization within populations?
So you don't know how statistics works.
Oh my
No, not
God.
at all. It's embarrassing.
Oh my God.
What are the
Like, y'all are
different
not getting
sampling
it.
methods that are used in surveys and
You're
studies?
okay. Y'all are not understanding the point I'm trying to make at all. Okay. We understand, we know for a fact that different demographics suffer different rates of victimization. It doesn't make sense to collapse the data and claim
That's
that you're
why it would be
randomizing
a
it.
randomized sample. It would
Right,
be
right,
representative
right,
of.
but even
So
anyways,
why do you insist on downplaying the statistics, Appington? Like, what's the point?
no, because I don't think that the statistics are being accurately represented. Like, there's no
What are
way.
you mad about? What are you mad about? Again,
He
what's the
made
whole
he
point of this?
Irish made a claim when I first came up. Irish
Yep.
made a claim, a very specific claim.
Yep.
9 out of 10 victims of grape were women.
Yep.
I said I don't believe this because the sample size that of the study he's
Okay, so you
trying
have an
to.
issue with the survey. So do you want to look at the Department of Justice statistics on convicted rapists and the victims?
But even you will admit that most rapists aren't getting arrested or convicted or whatever. So
Right,
that's not
but you want,
representative of the
but
issue.
since you know you don't want to accept the survey, since apparently you want to survey every single person in the United States and mandate this survey so we get an accurate number, because there's not going to be anything better than what we currently have. There's not going to be more people.
Some of these surveys.
what exactly do you want to go off of? Do you want to go off of the statistics
I
provided by the Department of Justice as to how many
I am
rapists were
saying that
arrested and who their victim demographics were?
why
Do you
would
think
we
that we
go
should
off of
include
that?
them?
Why would we go off of that when you yourself would
So then what the fuck
acknowledge
do you
that
want to go
most
off of? You want to go off of something
there's
imaginary that doesn't
literally nothing.
exist.
There's literally
You are
nothing.
no, you are disagreeing with a claim based off of nothing except your own imagination.
Okay,
Once again,
wait,
the
Yappington,
study
you
doesn't.
understand that this statistic isn't
So
like
what do you
contested
want
at all.
then? I can't pull a fucking study out of thin air. I can't just pull something out of my fucking imagination and make it fucking reality. You want something,
Right.
you have something in your mind. It is a figment of your imagination. Whatever study you are envisioning in your head, it's a figment of your imagination. It is not a real thing. We don't have a study of over 300 million Americans to where they're all forced to take this survey and disclose what crimes they were a victim of. We don't have that. So what do you want to go off of?
Right. So how can we actually know the prevalence of these issues in society? We're just guessing.
I don't know. Maybe you could
We're
go
literally
and
guessing, which is the point.
again, maybe you could go and look at, I don't know, if you want like statistics that are hardcore facts, right? You want to factually, check everything that we're saying. Why don't you go off of the Department of Justice's statistics on the people who have been convicted of rape and who their victim demographic
Once
was?
again, even you would admit that this is not representative of the total issue within society, because
So then
even
what do you
women
want?
What does
and
that even mean? What does that mean?
even feminists admit that the majority of rapists aren't getting convicted and going to jail.
What is your
So
So
they
point?
that
aren't.
wouldn't mean
So
it.
what's
Right, right. So why would we
Yappington?
rely on conviction rates to determine the prevalence of the
Because
issue?
again, Yappington, you are telling us that it's not 9 out of 10, but you're not giving a counter statistic. You're just saying I don't believe
I'm
that.
saying
Hold
that
on,
I don't
Yappington, do you
believe
think
it's 9
that
out of 10, and
DOJ
I
is
don't see
complicit
anything
from
that suggests it
the?
is.
Well, then
Do
you
you
would
think
be
that
fucking wrong because we provided 2 perfectly fine studies.
Do you think that the number from those studies was based on convictions?
No. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Like your point about conviction rates
I didn't bring up
being
anything about
very
convictions. Matt
unrelated.
did.
I don't understand what your argument is, though.
My argument
Why would you
is
say
that
that those studies are not representative based on the under conviction rate when you just say that like the rate of
I'm not talking about convictions at all. Mac is talking about convictions. Okay, I am talking about the study that Irish brought up. Its sample size is 226,000, and this is of people over 12. So it's not even including people who are under the age of 12. Okay, this is not a representative sample size.
Wait, you fucking moron! You do understand that they don't then make extrapolations that pertain to people under the age of 12. You do understand that, right, Yappington?
Listen, you fucking don't.
Do you understand that, you donkey? Like, it's embarrassing.
You're
It's embarrassing that we're literally having the same conversation over and over again. You understand that the DOJ doesn't do a survey of people aged 12 and up and then make claims that pertain to people under the age of 12.
I didn't say it did. What are you talking about?
Because you just made it sound like this study is limited, or we can't understand what it means,
It's
or we
limited.
can't apply it to the general
point.
population based upon what happened. Are you stupid?
Cannot extrapolate to the general
Yes, you can.
population. The
Yes, you
sample
can.
size is too small, and it's
No,
not
it's not.
telling me. It's
Why is it too small? You idiot. Why is it too
telling
small?
me the composition.
Why is it too small?
Telling me
You just said it's too small. Why is it
it
too
is
small?
not telling.
Why is it too small?
It's not telling.
Why is it too small? I know men don't like to talk
You
about size, but why is it too small?
act like a.
Why is it too small? 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 Why is it too small?
How can I respond?
Why is it too small?
You muting me.
Because I don't want to know your fucking answer. Come back in 20 minutes when you've done more
Shut
education.
up, bitch.
Fucking moron.
He's so fucking stupid. Like
So it's
he's
clinically
genuinely
stupid. It's
so
embarrassing at this
dumb. Like he wants to live in fucking la la land and pretend that these statistics
It's just not even contested. Like, this is a widely known statistic.
Yeah, again, for some reason, men want to invade women spaces, and they want to invade every little, thing that we cherish, that we have, that we love. And for some reason, they also want to invade spaces where we are the primary victim of that said situation. I don't know why men continue to do that. I think it's really annoying and really frustrating. Because again, I don't know why they want to, I just don't get it. Like, why? This isn't even something that women want. Like, women don't want to be the majority victims of sexual violence. However, men see something that women have, and they just want to, take it. They want to claim the victimization when they're not the majority victims. I don't know. It's fucking weird.
How do we make it so these questions are asked on the next census? Because I think that's the only way yapping whatever the fuck is going to be able to concede.
I mean, to be fair, it doesn't even need to be on the census for him to concede. He just needs to learn to fucking read. I went through that survey. It says everything you need to know to make an educated, decision on whether you believe that study or not. He just can't read.
No, he can. He's choosing not to. That's what's frustrating.
Yeah,
I don't know if he has the ability to engage in critical thought.
I just can't believe that he got sent fucking homework, got given 20 minutes. I went through it in about 5 minutes and got the answer. That's fucking wild.
So the new people who join, what's up?
Hi, you guys hear me?
Yep, what's up?
Okay. So, wait, trying to get my stuff together. Okay, sorry, I was waiting and I was kind of just watching TV and listening at the same time. Okay, so I'm basically taking all of this and I'm basically just going to say this based off me just reading the prompt, not based off of the conversations you had with that dude that just left. Okay, so basically, the examples that I did want to give there were 6 examples, I believe, and 2 of them I believe were maybe, well, not maybe, but racially motivated, but the other ones were they never knew or they couldn't figure out. So basically, okay. So for the first couple names, I have Emmett Till, Purvis Payne, George Stinney, Central Park Drive.
Can we go just one by one if you don't mind? So Emmett Till, I think we all agree is a result of racism. Shirley, you would agree with that?
Yes, I would 100% agree. But okay. I did feel like it was still based off of an accusation. That's why I put it, just because it was still an accusation. So.
No, I hear you, but George Floyd, for example, right? What was I don't even remember what was the underlying issue that they tried to get him for. What was it for? The fake
$20 bill.
The counterfeit bill, right? So that counterfeit, the cops arresting him for a counterfeit 20 is what led to his unaliving, right? But do you attribute his unaliving to the law that prohibits counterfeit 20s, or do you attribute it to racism and in dehumanizing of black people?
With that situation, the only thing I will say is I believe that it should have been handled differently, but he still should have been prosecuted the way, No,
that's not what I asked. What I said was, when you talk about when you talk about George Floyd, do you say he was killed as a result of racism, or do you say he was killed as a result of an allegation about a $20 fake 20?
An allegation.
That's ridiculous. You don't blame the allegation. You blame the racist cops.
I know, me personally, you can't
speak.
Come
on, you're being disingenuous.
I'm not being disingenuous. You can't.
2 things can be true at once, though.
That's what I'm saying.
You blame the laws. You blame the laws against counterfeit 20s for why he was unalived.
All black people don't believe, just because some of them believe this and some of them believe that, it doesn't mean I have to believe the same.
Hold on. You don't think he would have been unalived either way?
No. I don't like that we stick it to the George Floyd. I like the Emmett Till example. That was a perfect example. It was racism, but it was also false allegations.
Wait, okay, so give me a second. Let me just say this.
Yeah, but the false allegation is weaponized by the racist is the issue.
But give me a second. I do want to say that everyone on this list has no criminal background. I'm not just talking about Emmett Till. I do have cases that are recent. None of these men have any criminal background, no drug abuse, no AA, no anything of that nature. And I picked these men because they don't have a criminal background. Okay.
I don't know why that's not really relevant to what
I
our
mean,
point
you're,
is.
but
Our
because
point,
if we're talking about George Floyd had a criminal background.
Okay,
I don't understand why that's relevant either.
one second.
He was
They
doing
can't,
that for a long
holy
time.
shit, 1 second. They cannot, when Derek Chauvin looked at George Floyd, he could not see his entire criminal background just looking at him. He made the decision to unalive that man because he was a black man. Let's be so real with each other.
Okay. Was that it?
But still, what about Emmett Till? It was a false allegation that led to his unalivement.
Do you believe Emmett Till was unalived because of racism or because of a false allegation?
Both. But two things could be true at once.
No, the problem is that they weaponized a false allegation in order to be able to hurt them.
Exactly.
Okay,
So hang on. This is why we always say, if you're going to come up here, we fully agree that racism overlaps with false allegations, which make false allegations more harmful to black men. We validate that 1,000%, right? But if you want to get it to be as pure as possible in terms of the idea that false allegations are to blame, who are the white men whose lives were ruined? Who are the white men?
The white man during that case?
Give me an example of a white man whose life has been ruined. You had 6 examples, right? Which of them is a white man?
I mean, I haven't finished the list at all.
Which one? I'm asking.
But that's
which
your
one
job
is a
to
white
advocate
man?
for your community. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
I haven't. When I did my list, and I decided to choose the men that I chose, I obviously chose them because they are part of my community and always raise awareness, no matter where I'm at, no matter where I'm going. I don't tokenize the fact that this happened to these men. I don't do any of that. I do it because it's my community and I choose to talk about it. And this was a good time to talk about it.
Let me ask you this, Sonny. How do you feel? Are you black or are you white?
I'm black.
Okay. I'm not looking. I haven't looked at your profile, so I don't know. How do you feel when a white person joins a live like this and says false allegations hurt men like me, and then they point to Emmett Till? You've no issue with that?
But that is totally different. I'm a black woman talking about a black issue.
What's the black issue you're talking about?
A white tea person talking about an issue like that. Of course, I would feel some type of way because you're not black.
But you just said it's a false allegation that got him killed, not because he's black. You said it was a false allegation that got Emmett Till. So isn't Emmett Till a victim of false allegation? So why can't a white person do that?
Because when white tea people use it, they use it as that, like, they're trying to tokenize it. They're trying to use it just because, like, oh, we know this situation.
Why are they doing that?
They don't actually care what happened.
Why are they doing that? Why are they doing it?
They only want to do it just to prove a point.
No, they're doing it because there's no. They're doing it because there's no examples of white men, because this happens to black men because of racism.
Okay, but I am proving that there are false accusations. So can I continue?
We don't dispute there's false allegations. The question is whether or not the false allegation is what is ruining a person's life, or whether or not there's extenuating circumstances. So I would argue that what actually ruins a man's life is usually racism and or toxic masculinity, not the actual allegation itself. And if you could show me a victim,
it's still the allegation, though. If
you can show me a victim, if you could show me a victim, if you could show me a victim of false allegation who is white and who is not a victim of toxic masculinity.
Why do we have to be white?
Because we're not disagreeing. Because we're not disagreeing with the idea that false allegations against black people are harmful. We're not disagreeing with that.
Well, it's a vague term because it says false allegations.
Did you hear what I just said? Dooley, did you hear what I just said? We don't disagree that false allegations are often weaponized against black people, and that as a result of that, black men, or typically black men, are falsely convicted at a much higher rate than white people. Nobody's
Yeah.
disagreeing with that.
Yeah, so but you saying false allegations don't ruin life. You didn't put
That's
that
also
on.
not the point that I'm trying to make. That's not also the point that I'm trying to make. I'm just trying to simply make the point that false accusations ruins life because that's literally the prompt. The prompt doesn't specify anything else, but do false allegations ruin lives? That's literally all the prompt says. That's it.
And it's
Point
being
blank.
told to you. You understand? You're not going to have all the points in a prompt, right? So I've explained to you that when it comes to, so
Okay, but
you understand that
use a
issues are going
different
to have.
example. I can use a different example besides Emmett Till, though.
What's the different example you'd like to do?
Okay.
Oh, Nicole,
The-
Nicole, we're not able to bring people up
okay.
when Mac is away from the live. Oh, or
No,
Mac just woke up.
You can't do it when the host is away. I remember somebody saying that.
So go ahead, Sonny.
Okay, so McCrae, Richardson, Salam, Santana, and Wise. I'm not sure if you're familiar with any of those names.
Okay, which of those are white?
None of them are white.
Okay,
Some of
so
them,
then
some
what?
of them are
So what is
biracial.
your argument then?
Some of them, they were all accused about false allegations.
Again, I don't know how many times we have to say this. A false allegation against a black person will be weaponized in order to be able to hurt that black person to the point that black people are disproportionately arrested and convicted.
So,
hey, 50 Shades, can I ask you a question?
This allegation wasn't made by a white woman. So I'm trying to.
Sure, it doesn't matter if the allegation is made by a white person or.
Okay, so
can I just finish? Sure,
Okay,
because
yeah.
the arrest is done by officers who are likely going to be white, and the jury is likely going to be
But it's
composed of
still the
majority
allegation
white.
that caused the officer to take that action. That's what you're not understanding.
No, it isn't.
No,
because
it's
we
not.
all know as black people that cops be using their powers against us in any ways that they
Yes,
can.
I agree.
Okay,
There
Like,
has been a lot of
that's
people in the
that's
past
not the
where it
point
takes the
that we're
false
trying to make,
allegation to
Miss
get there.
Nicole.
right, I
That's
understand
literally
that's not the point you're trying to make, but
That's not
regardless
the
of
point at
the
all.
allegations being made, we all know that the system is prominently against us. So,
That does not. Okay, yes,
so
it does
That
matter to an
doesn't
extent, but like the false allegations is how we got there in the first place. That's what you guys have to understand.
exactly.
right. So
The
even
false
if we,
allegations. Hold on, let me finish real
If
quick.
the false allegation was never made, they would never be in the situation
Thank
that
you,
they were
preach,
in.
preach. Thank
so
you.
even if that's the case, right? If there was a white
It doesn't matter
person,
even if that was the
please
case.
let me
That's the
finish.
case.
Please let me finish. If that was a white person, that situation would not have happened. They would have probably gone off a lot different, right?
The
So the fact
situation
of
is
the
less
matter,
likely to happen.
the fact of the matter is the problem is the
Yeah, we're
racism.
not going to say it won't happen. It's just
Hey,
less
No,
likely.
let me
the
say
problem
something.
is the false accusation because if the false accusation never happened, the racist part could never have occurred.
Yeah, so you're harping on the false accusation when the problem
That's
is
what
the
the prompt
racism.
says. False
Yes,
accusations do not ruin
I know.
lives.
I know. What I'm saying is the accusation is not the problem. The racism in the system
How
is
is the
the
accusation
problem.
not the
How is the
problem?
Because
accusation not a part of the
Exactly.
problem?
You got
Listen, hold on. Let me say something. Let me
It's
explain
not
something.
the
Let me say something.
aggravating factor.
Hold
I'm
on. Let me
sorry.
say
I'm
something.
not
Let me
trying.
say something. Let me say
Are
something.
we allowed to
I've been waiting.
falsely
Hold on.
accuse
Let
people?
me say
Is that
something.
what y'all
Wait, I've
saying?
been up
Let me
here
say
for like
something really
a
quick.
whole
Sonny, you've been talking.
hour.
Let me say
I've
something
been
real
here
quick.
for an hour. What do
No,
you
Sonny.
mean?
No, wait. Sonny has
If
been
you're awake,
extraordinarily
can you
patient.
supermod me?
I've been here for an hour. What do you
Yeah, I
mean?
don't want like
Wait.
of all the Dooley and Pyro, respectfully, Sonny has been ridiculously patient.
All right. So
So
can
like,
Nicole not talk either then? Because I'm waiting. I was supposed to ask you a question.
Yeah, that's only fair if Nicole.
okay, so Nicole can hold off as well. Then go ahead, Sonny.
Okay. Sorry, but to answer, like, I'm basically saying the same thing that Pyro and Dooley are saying. If the accusation was never made, then the occurrence of racism with police officers would never have occurred. And this is why I brought up the situations with McCrae, Richardson, Salem, Santana, Wise. Who else did I put on my list? I put Purvis Payne, George Stinney. Like, none of these, if those accusations by those specific women were not made, then it would have never occurred.
Okay, let me ask you this question: if those allegations were made against white men, would the same things have happened? Just yes or no?
I'm not sure. I'm not going to say it's not. It won't happen. It may be less
Do you
likely.
believe it?
Do I believe what?
Do you believe it would have happened to white people? Do you think race had no issue, no role in them being falsely convicted?
Ooh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Well, of course.
Okay, how large a role? Do you think it was a small role or a large role?
I can't I can't honestly say. I can say 50-50 because we never honestly know. Like with the Central Park 5 case, I can't actually tell you because we don't know. They
What
were
do you mean
arrested
you
by
don't
black
know?
police. They were arrested by black police officers. So that's what, like, nobody's trying
Donald
to
Trump
hang.
made a page in the paper calling for their arrest. I mean,
No, calling for their
Calling for their
unaliving.
yeah. I mean that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't
But
black and Latino
but
men
but
and
but
boys.
they would have never been in the paper if what would have never occurred.
Yes, I understand that, right?
Oh my
And
god.
Yeah, but
That's
they were. Hang
wait,
on,
wait,
wait. They
wait.
weren't falsely accused, though, Sonny.
they were falsely accused
They
because
were
the
not. They
correct
were
man
not. They were
the
not
correct
falsely
man
confused.
the correct man that
No, no.
actually
Hang
did the
on,
crime.
Sonny. Respectfully, you may not know the case. They were not falsely. The
I don't
woman
know the
who was
case.
okay. Why don't you tell me about them being falsely accused?
She literally went into what is the box called?
Central Park. She got raped, and what
No,
happened?
no,
Tell
no,
me
no,
when
no,
she
no, no, no,
falsely
no, no.
accused them.
What is the place called where they go in and they point out the men? Like what is that?
Why not?
Great. So, just out of curiosity,
She pointed them out as she
hang
looked at
on.
them dead
The
in their
grape
face.
happened. The grape happened. I believe it was on April 20th. Okay. The five of them were arrested within 24 hours. Did you know that?
Oh, I did. Yes, because some of them have
Okay.
14 to
Do you know
15
when they
years.
do you know that they confessed within a week? Did you know that?
But why did they confess?
Did you know that they confessed within a week? Yes or
But
no?
why did they confess?
Did you know that they confessed within a week? I'll
Yes,
take
I
that
do
as a
know.
no. Great.
No, I do. Yes, I do. And I know why
And
they
during
confessed.
that, and why did they confess?
They confessed because the police officers that arrested them, or the detectives, whichever one that we want to call them, that were working around them, they were telling them, if you take this plea case, hey, we'll give you less time, but just take the
So it
plea
wasn't
case.
due to a false allegation, right?
No, it was. They said we know
What?
that you
Hang
did
They
it.
on.
didn't have a way
Wait. I'm
out.
talking to Melly. I'm
They
talking to
didn't.
Sonny.
They didn't have a way out because either way, if they would have taken that plea case, or if they
So it
wouldn't
wasn't a
have,
false allegation, right?
they still would have went. Yes, they
I'm
still would
asking
have
you,
done that.
what role did her saying they did it play in them confessing?
And them confessing.
It
Yep.
caused them to get arrested in the
Can
first
you
place.
please? No, it
False
didn't. You just
allegations
don't know
don't got
about
to
the
be about a
case.
victim. It could be about
You
anybody.
don't know about the case. Sonny, I'm asking you, what role did her IDing the five men, or but children, what role did her IDing the five children have in them confessing?
What role did
Do you think
she
it
play?
influenced it?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
The grape happened on the 20th. They were arrested
By
within they were arrested within 24 hours. They
who was the
confessed
raping?
within Sonny. They were arrested within a week. They were arrested within 24 hours. They confessed within a week. Sonny, I want to be so fucking for real with you on right now. The victim was in a fucking coma for the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
They had already confessed before the victim even woke up from her coma. A false allegation is traditionally understood to be when a person who has been a victim of a grape says, that person graped me. She was in a coma. She didn't do that. They were forced due to racist cops to give a confession. And the confession is why they ended up going to jail because they just didn't care. They just wanted to get this over and done with. There was no false allegation with regard to the Central Park 5.
Okay. Okay.
It's blatantly because of racism.
Okay, but hold on.
That's the first time I've heard you make a good point, Irish.
I can definitely concede when I'm wrong, but I am gonna name the other people, but I can definitely concede when I feel like you've made a great point, and I could understand that. So, can I move on to the next person?
No, because each of them is.
I mean, each of them isn't the same. Each case is not the same.
I'm going to say this very clearly. I believe that when black men are accused of grape falsely, that it is statistically more likely that that people are going to believe them, meaning believe the victim. That it's statistically more likely they're going to be arrested, and it's statistically more likely they're going to be falsely convicted. We're not disputing that.
Thus, false accusations ruin lives.
Yes, exactly.
Yappington, go back and educate yourself with regard to the stat.
That's the
But
prompt. You should change the prompt to say
Do you guys
Black Lives in.
do you
that's the
understand?
only thing that I'm
Do you,
trying to make. That's the only point that I'm trying to make, that false accusations do ruin lives. That's the only point that
And
I'm
those
trying
are
to
Black
make.
lives that have been ruined.
that's why I'm not going after you like I did other people, because I know you're up here for a good reason, right? But what I'm
Yes.
trying to tell you is we agree with you that when
Okay.
it comes to black people, false allegations can absolutely be weaponized in order
Mhm.
to hurt them due to racism.
Okay,
Now
hold on.
hang on, you're saying that false allegations without racism are harmful, correct?
Yes, I have an
Great.
example.
So what's your example of false
So I
allegations
have a
without racism playing a role being ruining someone's life?
so I have a cousin, right? He's and this is a true story, by the way. He he was
It already sounds
he had
very
this
real.
he had a stepmother, right? Because you already know his family was having a lot of issues with cheating and stuff. So he eventually had a stepmother, and the stepmother had two stepdaughters, and they never got along with each other. They decided to accuse him of rape, and so the mother chased after him with a knife, trying to stab him, until the two girls came running back in, crying and telling her mom that they lied. That is that is a prime example that there's no racism involved. Everyone there is black. That kid could have been stabbed and killed that day.
So wait, everyone there was black? So do you have an example of a white man whose life was ruined as a result of false allegation?
You're completely avoiding the point.
Or you're not listening to the point. I don't know how many times I have to say it to you. I'll ask you again. Do you have any examples of a white man whose life has been ruined as a result of false
Can I just
allegations?
say one last
You just
thing?
ignored
Go
my
ahead,
point
Sonny.
completely, though.
No, you didn't. You literally have
So
not
I
heard a
think
goddamn thing I've said.
I just gave you an example. You asked for an example of grape potentially ruining someone's life that has
That is
no
white.
racism involved. That is an example where there's no racism involved, and that kid could have died that day.
That is white.
Okay. I
So
see
the answer is no.
you just can't reason.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Sonny.
I'm just trying to get a little bit more informed. That's it. So the whole situation with were they white or if they were white, could you like give me a little bit more context?
In terms of what? In terms of the people who are being accused, you mean?
Like, because I'm guessing that if they were white, it's just less likely to happen. So it's like a lower percentage. Like, I'm
If I
just
could just
drastic. Go ahead, Nicole.
Yeah, if I could just say something, right? So you can list, as we both can list, plenty of black men who have been, like, you have your list, right? Like, so I can make a whole list of white men who are still in power, who are still working, who are still actively alive, living their best lives today with several allegations. One is even running for president, right? I feel like it is very clear that if you're white, the laws work a little bit differently for you. I think that's clear, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can all kind of agree.
Right.
We can all agree to a certain extent. Yeah.
So
I got a situation.
Wait,
can you let her finish talking?
I want to finish. I mean, I want to hear her finish her thought.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I think that like we are not denying that when allegations and race mix together, there's problematic solutions that happen. Cops mixed with black people is always problematic.
Of course.
The problem is that when we separate the race issue, it is prominently non-existent.
Okay, so that gives me a little bit more context on what's going on. So basically, like I said before, when I came up on the panel and I was reading the background or the prompt that was given to me, I read the prompt based off of what the prompt said, but with no specifics.
Yeah, no, and we like people to come up like yourself in order to bring up that point, because then we can raise awareness that when it comes to false allegations, due to racism, it can often be a more pronounced issue for someone who's black. So, for example, when we look at false convictions or false allegations, they are statistically most likely to happen in the case of a custody dispute, in the case of a divorce, in the case of someone who has extraordinary wealth, or in the case that someone is black. Those four factors are correlated with false allegations, right? But when you
Right.
take away those, and so we had talked about in the prompt, should we just say white men only? No, because we want to educate people on exactly the point you're making, which is that black people will have anything weaponized against them in order to throw them in jail. But in this case, it's not the false allegation. That's just the tool they're using. But the reason why that black person's going to jail, the reason why that black person's not being believed is due to racism because white guys get believed. Black
Right.
men do not get believed. And so we don't specify it. So you're right to come up. I'm glad you came up. I'm glad you brought up the point. But the reason why I'm saying we got the point is the fact that we agree with you.
Right.
So now that we agree with you that when it comes to black men, absolutely, false allegations can be used to hurt black men. Take that out of it now, and look at and just in the same way, by the way, that you could say that false allegations can be used to hurt poor people, right? Because you're not able to afford a lawyer, right? But that's not due to the false allegations. So I think the idea, for example, that you've had Bill Clinton, who was accused of sexual assault or admitted to sexual assault, right? You
Yes.
have, oh my God.
He had 80 allegations against him, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a lot.
If Obama had a single allegation, and Donald Trump has 26 allegations against him, if Obama had a single sexual assault allegation against him, do you think he would have been elected? Because I don't think so at all. I think he would have been.
I think it
Yeah.
would have been a bigger debacle for sure.
And that's my point,
think-
is that when it comes to white dudes, no one cares. If you're a black person, they're going to care all of a sudden.
Okay, and I can agree with you. I can agree with you. I agree. I feel like the only point that us three was just trying to make is just we were just going basically off of the prompt. We weren't worried about any of the specifics. I think that's just where the miscommunication came in.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, Dooley and Pyro are still going to probably flip their shit because they're guys, so they have to defend their position as guys, right?
I don't know
but
what
I also
have to do with anything.
but I also don't like to give too much cover when it comes to the issue of race, because when it comes to false allegations and black men, the highest incident rate, the highest likelihood of a false allegation is when it's a white person accusing a black person. When a black woman is accusing a black man, not only is it less likely to be prosecuted, they actually get less time for it. One of the most shocking statistics you'll ever learn is this: when it comes to almost all crime, when black men get arrested and convicted, they usually get higher incarceration rates, meaning longer sentences, than white men. There's one big exception, and that's rape. Black men get less time in jail for rape than white men. And the reason is, interestingly enough, due to the fact that most black men who are arrested based upon allegations brought by black women. And they've looked into studies on this, and they believe that what's happening is that black women are so devalued in American society that they're not believed. Therefore, black men tend to get away with it more against black women than any other demographic. And secondly, that sentencing, they don't get as bad a sentence due to the fact that no one cares about something happening to a black woman. And so it's crazy, but because black men don't ordinarily grape white women, despite the disgusting stereotypes, because their primary person is a black woman, and due to the fact that the system just does not prioritize black women, black men actually get lower sentences. And so, as much as I give black men absolutely validate the idea that if a white woman is accusing them, I'm going to be sus as fuck. If a black woman's accusing them, I'm no longer going to be sus.
Right.
I'm not. It doesn't work both ways like that.
Right. Okay. Yes, I agree. I'm not gonna sit here and try to argue you down when I
I'm going to
actually
guess
do it.
Pyro doesn't agree, though. Do you agree, Pyro?
I do agree with your point that, okay, yes, black people are more prone to be more heavily prosecuted than a white person. I do agree with that, right? But my point still stands: is the rape allegation itself can not only be harmful to any person, it could also be harmful to the victims of actual rape.
Yeah, no victim of rape likes someone who makes false allegations. Nobody disputes that.
Yeah. Okay. So why are we trying to saying why are we trying to put it as why are we trying to make false allegations as a negative thing? Because the prompt is making me feel like that you guys are trying saying false allegations why people aren't hurtful or harmful or whatever or
Because it's true. False allegations rarely ruin lives.
Okay, but we should not be saying that. Why are we promoting false allegations at all?
Who said? This prompt
Bro,
doesn't
no
say.
one's promoting anything.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
I don't think he meant promoting. I think he worded it wrong. But
We're
I think he meant
minimizing
yeah, I
Wait.
think that's what he said. Like, why are you? I think he is trying to say you're devaluing it.
We are.
Okay, thank you. Yes,
Very
that's the word I'm
specifically.
looking for.
The reason is because men use it as a shield in order to escape culpability. Men make it out to be the worst thing in the world in order to make people not believe allegations.
It's still bad.
Did you say that false allegations do not ruin lives?
They
For
don't.
the
They
vast
can't?
majority of people, correct.
No,
They don't.
The
Are we
vast majority of
specifically
people.
rape? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I would say that if someone, I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here. Think about this, guys. If someone
Why
is-
are you
is
being a
falsely-
devil's advocate on behalf of rapists?
Okay, well then use whatever phrase you would like. But what I'm getting at here is that if someone is accused of rape that is innocent, and they're in a position at their office where they now cannot even be in any meeting with anyone, they'll say that they're uncomfortable, even
Give me
though
an
they're
example of
entirely
that.
innocent. And then think about the dominoes that fall here.
Give me an example
Yeah, that
of
doesn't
that.
happen. That doesn't happen.
That's adorable. You think that happens, but
How would your office know that you were accused of rape?
Think of an instance where it's in the news. I mean, I very
remember the
well
Inquisitor
could.
incident? Do you guys remember the
This
Inquisitor
bullshit
incident?
never
People that are
happens. You guys are
accused of
yapping
rape
about an
that end up in the news working
irrelevant
in
problem.
office.
Think
said what?
think of the instance at Duke. Do you guys remember when that happened? Whenever there was the accusations of rape at Duke, and that those guys lost their scholarship. They could no longer play lacrosse. They ended up dropping out. I think I ended up hearing a couple years after the fact that he was a garbage man now. Whenever he could have been a professional athlete,
who?
and he ended
Wait,
up being
who's the
innocent.
garbage man? Who?
Not that a garbage man. They make good money, but I'm
Who?
just saying.
Who
I'm
is the
talking about
garbage
the
man?
accusations a couple years back of the woman, the mattress girl, the people that were claiming the Duke lacrosse athletes were gang raped them, and they ended up being entirely innocent, and she admitted it.
All right, so hang
that
on. The
guy's life
mattress
was
girl.
ruined.
You're annoying.
Look, all
The
I'm
mattress
getting at-
girl. Hang on. No, all you're getting at is you're whining. The mattress girl was in NYU, not in Duke. She was definitely New York. So you're lying about that, okay? So who are you saying is the
I
innocent
would
person in
say I
that
made a
situation?
mistake there. Mattress girls in my U. That's
Okay, so
I
you're
can see
saying
that.
the Duke. What about the Duke lacrosse team? Are you saying?
Okay, you guys don't remember the Duke lacrosse athletes that were accused of rape?
Yes, the mattress girl was also protesting in connection to it. I'm asking you, what about it was false?
The woman ended up admitting that she had made it up. That's
Okay,
what
and
made
then
it
what
false,
happened to
dude.
3 people?
I'm sorry, what?
What happened to 3 people then?
They did not get their scholarship back. They were no longer allowed to play lacrosse. And I imagine that the stigma still is going to follow someone after accused of rape. I know that if my coworker was accused of
So
rape,
none
I'd
of
be like,
them
man,
killed them.
I'll
Hang
never
on,
know.
none of them
I'd fire 'em.
unalived themselves, right?
That does
No.
not. It's still harmless.
So is that the
though.
definition?
Hang on.
Is that the
None of them
definition of having
unalived.
your life
No,
ruined?
no. I like it though because of the fact that people always point to the Inquisitor. And honestly, I think unaliving yourself after an accusation likely means you did it, not the opposite. So they didn't unalive themselves. And then what do you know the 3 men are doing today?
I know that they did not get a professional career.
What are they doing today?
It doesn't matter what they're doing today.
You
This
said
is
their
an
lives are
instance-
ruined. What are their lives today?
I'm giving you many examples in which it
What
can
are their
obviously
lives today?
take someone off a good track in life and put it on a
What
terrible
are
track
their
in life.
lives today? You're telling me their lives are ruined. Can you tell me how their lives are ruined?
This isn't like my best buddy here, man. I can't tell you what they're doing today. Let me ask you this: if your coworker
So you don't know.
or someone
So
that
you
was close
don't
to
know.
you was accused of rape, what would you?
I want to be clear. So you don't know if their lives are ruined, correct?
How would you feel about that person if you were?
So you don't know if their lives are ruined, correct, Stoke?
Good lives are still affected in a negative way.
Wait. I just looked it up real quick. She apparently did not say that it was false.
It's on camera, man. Hang on, I'll give you a clip.
It's on camera. What's on camera?
I think he
In
has
subsequent interviews, she withdrew the accusations. That's why.
So
Look, this is a piece of conversation that we're trying to have about whether or not salt. Yeah.
Stoked.
Go ahead.
Can you please clarify? Did she withdraw or did she say it was false?
Yeah, because it looks like they had a DNA testing, but none of the boys matched. So they
there's that.
They assume that doesn't mean
anything. He's looking for the clip of her admitting it right now. I think that's what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
So they
Look, this is a part of an overall conversation, though, just in general about the statement that the statement that false accusations are not hurtful. Like, all right, so can you concede the fact that obviously a false accusation of rape is obviously a terrible thing that could happen to a person?
Wait. But it's we should get the details very clear here because this was also a black woman. So against three white college boys. So I think it's
right, and that's why it made national news.
To be very clear on the details here.
You do understand that the reason why they went to jail was due to the DA faking evidence, right? Or not faking, they withheld evidence, right? Did you know that?
Wow,
I'm sorry, what are you asking me?
Sure. Did you know that you obviously don't know anything about Duke lacrosse. Do you know that the prosecutor in that case, he withheld exculpatory evidence that he knew would tend to show that they were innocent, and that he ended up being prosecuted
over the DNA being not a match? That would, what's over that? Dude?
No. Do you know what the word exculpatory means?
Sure, but how what are you going to put to that's exculpatory over it not being a DNA match?
Do you know what the word exculpatory means?
Sure, I'm asking what could possibly be exculpatory over DNA.
So hang on, I just told you the reason why.
And what was the exculpatory evidence, brother?
The DA.
Do you know what it was?
The DNA.
Don't tout it if you don't know what it was.
The DNA evidence
itself.
The DNA evidence itself. The prosecutor. It's a famous case. The prosecutor conspired with the person responsible for DNA, and they both ended up getting done for it. That's a case of what we call a prosecutorial misconduct. The DNA lab director and the prosecutor literally conspired to withhold evidence that would have cleared them. This is not a case of false allegation. This is a case of a corrupt DA who wanted to be able to make his name by getting rid of these people, by just getting conviction.
50 Shades, I feel like your argument that because there's another reason they actually got convicted, but you're missing the point that the false allegation led there in the first place. If we didn't, wait, hold on, let me finish real quick when I say this. If we didn't have the false allegation, we wouldn't have gotten to that point. So that's why I'm saying we shouldn't have false allegations don't ruin lives, because no matter what the race or what the situation is, if we remove the false allegations, those people's lives would have been entirely different. They could have gotten their scholarships.
If they didn't go to Duke, would it happen?
But it got stripped away from them.
If they'd gone to college in the first place, would they have been false? Would they have had their lives? Would they have had their lives ruined? Pyro?
Say it again.
If they'd not gone to Duke, would they have had their lives ruined? So their decision to go to Duke ended up resulting in them having their lives ruined, right, Pyro?
No, because
the false allegation itself started. That was the catalyst. We wouldn't have had those series of events if it wasn't for the false allegation.
So you just used a great word, catalyst versus aggravating event. Okay, a catalyst it could be 1,000 things. You're saying the false accusation was the catalyst. You could say them going to Duke was the catalyst. Them going to lacrosse could be the catalyst. You could say the prosecutor being assigned the case was the catalyst. All of those things are catalysts. The reason why their lives got fucked up, the reason behind it, like what actually prevented them from having good lives? Nope. The false allegation didn't do shit. What did shit was the prosecutor lying and conspiring with the DNA lab expert.
I have a question.
That's why it happened.
I have a question. If we didn't
And
have,
why do you think he did that?
If we didn't have the false allegation, if the false allegation never happened, would we have had the corruption?
No. And if they'd never gone
Wow.
to Duke, would they have gone to jail?
No. You just said something amazing. I just asked you a question. I just said, if the
And I
false
said no.
accusation
I
never
said no.
happened. Okay, then. So if we never had the,
And I just asked you the same question. If they'd not
you
gone to
responded-
Duke,
okay,
would
hold
they
on,
have gone
hold
to
on,
jail?
hold on.
Pyro,
So is
if
he?
they had
Did
not
he make
gone
a
to,
bad? Oh,
hang on. If they had not gone to Duke, would they have still gone to jail? Yes or no, Pyro? The answer is no as well. See?
Wait, hold on. Yes, I agree. The answer is still no. But let me
Okay,
comment
hang on. Had they skipped that party, the answer
So
would
you're
be
just gonna
no.
talk over me.
why
You're
should
trying
they
to
do
make a
that
point.
though?
No, hang on.
No,
Those are
you're
not the
You're not
reasons
having
why.
a genuine conversation. You're
You
cutting me
thought
off
you
every
just
time I'm
got
trying
a
to make
big
point.
own. You didn't own that.
No, I'm not trying to own anything. Okay, I'm just trying to make a point and stand on it. Okay, so
I need you to understand there's a term of art
we can get
that you need to hang on. There's a term of art you need to Google right now. Proximate cause. I need you to Google what proximate cause means. Okay?
So we're still deviating from my
no,
point
it's
that I was
not.
trying to make.
No, it's not. Proximate cause, you really do need to understand, like, there's different types of causation, okay? And the one that people care about in terms of legality is proximate cause. Proximate cause has a sort of a test. It basically is the but for test. But for blank would something have happened. Now
Please go back
hang on.
Okay. No, why
here,
should I give you the respect?
That is a
when you've never
stretch.
given me the respect. You have
What do you
never
mean
given-
stretch? Pyro. It's as simple as this. The proximate cause for for those people having any issues with their lives was the fact that the DA decided to withhold exculpatory evidence.
In order to stoke racial turmoil, like he had an agenda. That's why he wanted to do it. He wanted to accuse 3 white athletes of raping this black dancer.
Well,
And
they weren't completely innocent. They were all.
they sure weren't
they didn't-
guilty.
Wait. Let me finish, please.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
On the 911 call that the woman did make, they were harassing them. They were threatening to rape them with a broom, and they were doing racial slurs.
So then
And
you
that
accuse
was
him of
on-
rape?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
that
say
doesn't make
that.
sense.
I didn't say that. You are taking